We are live. Welcome to the RedBlue Pod bonus number 3 for season 3. How are you, DC?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. We had a blast Tuesday. I
Yep.
enjoyed my time a lot.
Yep.
And what about you, Cole? How are you?
Pretty good. Just trying to work on some stuff, which is very stressful. But other than that, pretty good. It's gonna be hell next week, though, probably after this upcoming week, because on the 2nd of September, I'm gonna have to again every 3 months. I have to go somewhere, like drive 8 hours to Nicaragua or Panama to do another 3 months on the residency here, and then another 8 hours back. And I might have to stay the night. Do that every 3 months. So yeah, that will be hell. I do that with my friends pretty much every 3 months. But hopefully, it could be the last time because maybe I'll get my place built fully by then. We'll see. Because when I do, then I don't have to anymore.
Okay, I see. That's interesting. You travel a lot.
Well, not really. I mean, only with my friends time to time, and then to do that thing every 3 months. It's like we have to, like if we don't, then we get kicked out of the country. Like you have to drive 8 hours or whatnot to like Nicaragua or Panama, or just like leave the country some other way for like even just a day, and then come back if you're not like fully a resident yet.
Yeah. So technically speaking, you're still Canadian, right? Technically speaking, on technique term.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, even when I do, I'm still Canadian. It's just I have dual citizenship. That's all.
Okay. So I guess now we can start off with Supergirl, the best show ever made. Supergirl season 4. So I'm also asking you, DC, did you have time to watch My Adventures with Superman episode
Yeah.
7 and 8?
Yeah, I was able to watch that.
Okay, I guess we will smash that in between Supergirl and Arrow. So, Supergirl season 4, who wants to start?
I guess I'll
Okay.
Silence. Silence. Who wants to start? I guess I will start because nobody offered himself. Um, I thought that was the best season of the show. I really enjoyed it last time, like back in January or February. I can't remember. Anyway, that was good. I thought that was a really good idea to have like several story arc, like uh, Agent Liberty for like 8, 9 episodes, and then we had like I forgot their names, but the alien that are extremists, like terrorists and that kind of stuff. That was very interesting to explore, and I also enjoyed Lex Luthor a lot. That's funny because that's the only time where Supergirl did Lex right, because Lex keeps coming back and he keeps getting worse. And it's also funny because it's actually the worst live action Lex Luthor. Maybe no, actually, in season 4, I'd say I prefer that one over the one in the Superman movie like we had in 1978. But he is still like worse than Lex in Smallville, or even in Superman and Lois. Lex and Superman and Lois is just like wow. So yeah, that these are my thoughts overall. What would be yours, DC? What did you think of like the season as one thing?
I definitely agree. It's definitely the best season. It definitely has its flaws, but I wouldn't say it's like a perfect season or a great season. Even I personally would say season's just average.
Yeah, I would surprisingly agree. This is the best season, but once again, even for the best season of this show, it's not great or anything. It's just decent, really. That's the best way to describe it. Again, I think the lead, was fine again in this. I think they did better with character arcs and everything in this season, and certain villain stuff I liked a lot more, but everything else is sort of just meh still. I mean, it's not like terribly done though as other these seasons were, but it's still nothing special. Those few things are pretty much the only things that really stand out as being very good for me. But I mean, being just a watchable, you know, season of a show that's pretty decent is a high benchmark for a CW show. But besides the odd ones, so I guess I'll take it.
So I would like to add something I almost forgot to mention, but the lead actress Mil Sabinois, she is also doing theater, I believe, and she had something in Broadway in between season 3 and 4, and this is why early in season 4 she's like put aside, and she's like under that weird suit. It's because they could not like get her on set at the same time as others. They basically needed to shoot her stuff later because she came back like when they already started season 4. So that's why we got like that weird suit thing where kryptonite has like um infected the earth. That's the only way they found to like let her come back later to shoot, because a lot of scenes where you don't see her face because of the helmet, it's because that's a body double doing the stunts and stuff. So I think
Yeah,
that was very creative. What did you think of that, Cole?
I mean, they had to find some way, so yeah, I guess it worked. I mean, it was kind of distracting and everything, but whatever. I guess I don't know, not much else to say really, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of surprised though that how that she hasn't really gotten more work when it comes to like films, I guess so far.
She also
A
got pregnant. That's one of the other reasons.
mm,
Like she got pregnant by the end of like season 5. That's also why in season 6 she is kind of separated from the rest of the cast. It's because here again she came back like much later in the shooting of the season. That's
I
why
see,
season 6 is very odd.
I see. Well,
But yeah, she got, I believe, one or two childs. She got one
yeah,
for sure in between season 5 and 6,
I see.
and that's
Yeah,
also why she decided to like pull the plug. She said, "Yeah, that's my last season," because she just got a child and she's like she wanted to take care of them. And anyway, like I think their contract for Supergirl was like 6 or maybe 7 season, but I think that was most likely 6, because a lot of these like CW thing, the contract they sign is like 6 or 7 season, depending on the show. And I think Supergirl was one of the shows that had like a 6 season run. Um,
hmm,
so yeah, what did you think of Agent Liberty, DC?
I definitely thought he was a good character, and I definitely like how they established how he first was. Um, he supported aliens before tragedy happened, and I really enjoyed that aspect of season 4, and that's what we're gonna get into later. But I enjoyed how he transformed as from a character to a compelling character. But yeah, yeah. So I say he was probably one of the best aspects of season 4 for me.
What about you, Cole? What did you think of Agent Liberty?
yeah, probably my favorite part of the season as well.
You know what's very funny about Agent Liberty is the perfect representation of bigots and the chud and like the anti-woke crowd. He's the perfect example of them. He's like the personification of them.
Yep.
Anyway, I like a lot Agent Liberty, and I think my favorite aspect of him, because he had resources, because he had like allies and people that liked his way of thinking. He was a threat for Supergirl, even if he had no power whatsoever. And I think that's the strength He felt like, what if Batman was a villain, and he really feels like that being that knows all people think to manipulate them. But the most ironic thing in everything, he got manipulated by freaking Lex in the end. But that was like, wow. I considering it's Supergirl writer handling Agent Liberty, I was shocked on how good that was. And I always thought it was really good on every watch. I think I've seen that season maybe 4 times, 5 times. It's only like season 5 and 6 that I haven't seen as many times because they are later season and they're not as good. But Agent Liberty, man, you're amazing. And DC, what did you think of Lex Luthor in season 4?
I definitely thought he was by far the best villain in season 4, but that's just season 4 specifically. I think later seasons definitely do ruin him.
Especially the one season you haven't seen, season 6. Except if you started singing. Did you started watching
No,
season 6?
no,
Okay.
I've been more busy with the other stuff for the podcast, but yeah.
Okay. Um, Cole, what did you think of Lex Luthor?
Yeah, I think they did a better job with him than pretty much like every other like CW style show has done. Like a lot more than again he was in Gotham, right? Like Lex Luthor, like a
It
version
wasn't
of him.
Titan, actually. Oh, I
Uh, uh,
almost forgot. Um, I almost forgot. I thought this Lex is actually better than the Titan ones.
yeah, my bad. It was Titans I was thinking of, but yeah,
I almost forgot about that one because it was so
yeah,
bad.
but yeah, I was gonna say like majority of these, besides maybe you could say maybe like Superman and Lois kind of, but other than that, like
You
even then
liked
though.
more this one over Superman and Lois?
No, well, I said besides that
Okay.
one,
Yeah.
like I would say it pretty much did it better when it comes to like these TV shows than like every other version, of Lex Luthor besides Superman and Lois's. So
Like, I know it's a bit unfair because Lex was the main character in Smallville, but uh would you prefer the Smallville one or Supergirl one? I think I know the answer, but I still gotta ask.
sorry, what
Pick
was the question?
pick any season of Smallville, just one season. Um which Lex is better? Lex from Smallville or Supergirl? I think I already know the answer, but I still gotta
Supergirl.
ask. Supergirl. Oh, I'm surprised. I like
Yeah.
that then.
Well, no, I
I'm
wasn't.
surprised.
Lex in the Smallville stuff is one of my weakest parts for me.
Oh, that's
Like, and
very
again, I
interesting.
don't like this show, Supergirl. I think it's terrible, but again, there's performances or certain characters that they do right, such as the lead, though, and I think they did Lex right in this season, at least.
Wow. Well, that's good to know. I'm glad you enjoyed him that much. Um, yeah. Um, Lex is enjoyable. Like, as a villain in the entire Arrowverse, I think it was very enjoyable. But I just think there are better Lex out there, and maybe like the later season tainted him too much for me. Maybe that's the thing, and I just cannot dissociate this Lex from season 5 and 6. But yeah, be ready to see him going downhill fast next season. Um, Now, what would be your worst 3 episode, DC?
Hmm. It has to be the episodes with the Red Daughter. Especially after one episode where I forgot the episode title, or the episode, but in the number as well. But it was one where Supergirl and the Red Daughter engaged in a fight. For me, that was like one of the worst episodes I've ever seen. So I'm guessing that would be, and I guess when they explored the Red Daughter's origin was another episode I didn't like. Um, but yeah, and I guess it was just that Dreamer episode where we learn more about her family. It's one where it's like I believe it takes place like on a farm, and I believe someone gets bit by a spider, something like that. Unless
Oh, that was the backstory of
yeah,
Nia.
yeah,
Oh, I have a leading question after that. But keep going.
yeah. But so yeah, those three episodes are the episodes I would consider the worst of season 4.
Okay, what about you, Cole? What would be your worst three episode?
All right, worst three would. Sorry, let's see, probably episode 5. Episode. Yeah, episode 5, episode 4, and then episode 11.
5, 4, 11. Oh, very interesting. So before I ask the favorites, I will ask the both of you, starting with Cole. What what were you thinking of Nia Nol as a character in this season? Did you like her? Did you dislike her? Did you didn't care? What are your
I
thoughts on
didn't I
Nia
didn't
Nol?
really care, but I didn't hate Nia. I just didn't really care. It was just whatever.
Okay, what about you, Marvel?
I kind of feel the same way that Cole feels. Like I at first thought, I don't really care about her character that much. I mean, she's not like one of the worst characters, and yeah, there are times she's a good character. I think she goes downhill in season 5, though.
Really, that's interesting. I thought her weakest season was, yeah, actually you're right. I agree with you, and but probably for different reasons.
Yep.
Um, I I I won't spoil too much because otherwise that will maybe taint Cole ideas. I still don't think season 5 is any good, but at least Cole will have his own reason instead of ours. um, but yeah. Before I move on with the next question, what did you think um of Lena and James Olsen relationship starting with Marvel
James and Lena.
when they were together? Did you forgot that?
I think I did.
Okay,
I,
that's the answer. You forgot about it.
yeah.
Cole, what did you think of their relationship?
Uh, it was poorly done, in my opinion. It was again the when I say like this season at least a good character, things I more mean like the arcs and stuff. When it comes to stuff like this, they always do a shit job in every season. It's like they can't write characters properly like they're actual humans. It's sort of like Flash season 9 levels with this stuff they do between characters, and yeah, this is another example.
I like your response a lot, and the proof that Marvel has forgotten about that plot is proof that that was poorly handled. So my own response for both questions I just asked. The first one, yeah, no, I thought she was a really interesting character, and the fact that she was trans and she was on top of that alien and human was very interesting because it worked very well to go against the narrative of the villain, which is alien or dangerous to human. Like Yano is proof that it's not the case because she is the result of an alien going out with a human. So I really like that aspect of her in that season, and I thought she was a very likable character. I enjoyed her a lot, and it it doesn't feel that forced like the way she is revealed to be trans. It's also very natural because she's not streaming it like on the roof. Like I think the first time she really talks about it is to Kara because she trusts Kara a lot, and I think that was like very interesting. I don't even know if every character in the show knows that fact about her, and that's really good. Um, Now when it comes to Lena and James, that relationship was trash. I'm glad they got rid of it. It had no meanings whatsoever. It's just like because Supergirl likes so much their ships. Like season three, we had like Alex and Maggie, and that was the toxic one. And I'm glad they got rid of this. And this season we got that. Great. I really feel like Supergirl, all these forced relationships they really tried hard to push down, they just didn't work. The only real relationship that worked for me was the one we get in season 5 with Alex and her future girlfriend. Um, but that's the only relationship that kind of worked for me in all of the 6 seasons. And maybe also like Monel and Kara in season 2, I really liked it. Monel and Kara in season 2 worked very well, but these are like the only two exceptions among like the 10, 12 freaking ships they did. They like Lena and James just didn't add any freaking chemistry. Lena and James, they are just two very different person. I just don't see these two being together. Just doesn't work. So yeah, um, that's a lot of ground covered. Now, what would be your top 3 episodes in season 4 Marvel?
All right, so one of them is episode 3, the Agent Liberty backstory. Let's see. There's also almost every episode with Lex Luthor, which I'm just gonna count as one because I thought Lex was able to single-handedly make those episodes good. And I guess probably episode 1, but that's only because of the tensions in the ending when Supergirl when the sky radiation becomes kryptonite and Supergirl almost dies by falling. But yeah, those are like the 3 episodes I enjoyed the most.
Okay. And what about you, Cole? What would be your top 3 episodes?
See, it would be probably episode 15, episode 16, and then episode 21.
Okay. That's very interesting. You didn't mention 3. Um, okay.
Three.
That
Well,
was the Agent Liberty episode. That's why I'm kind of surprised, but that's very
no,
interesting.
for me, episode 3 is like probably fourth.
Oh,
I
okay.
again, I like the others more. I think those four really stand above the rest. That and also there's one other. I think it's I believe it was like episode which was it? Maybe like 10 or something. I don't know, but I think those five just really stick out for me, and then the rest aren't bad. Just I wouldn't say are great either.
Now I just got 2 flashes in my mind. I'm like, I almost forgot some of the most important question I could ask the both of you. Number one, what did you think of Martian Manhunter stepping down of the DO and letting Alex be in charge? And just like John Johns as a character, his story arc and the entire season is part he played in. Starting with DC, what did you think of John Johns? Like this season, John Johns tried to be peaceful to honor his father's memory, and in the end, he kind of realized he cannot do that because that's not the way he is. What did you think of that, DC?
Yeah, I thought it was a nice way to at least build development for Martian Manager, which he's not had in a while. I don't think he's had this much development in the or other seasons. Definitely
See,
not.
season 3 that a lot, but season 4 is like the best season for John Johns.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But I feel like him doing that storyline definitely did drag because the Alex storyline with her being the charge of the DEO was not. I didn't like that storyline at all. So
Okay, very interesting. So, anything else you'd like to add about John Jones before I ask the same to Cole?
not for me. Not for me.
Cole, what did you think of John Jones' growth in this season, his storyline? What did you think of that?
I liked it. I mean, it wasn't too special, but it was solid enough. Again, it's the best example I would probably give maybe is like okay, I lost my train of thought about example I was going to give was from another CW show that's kind of similar, but nonetheless, like I don't think it was like any amazed in like writing or anything or like character growth. But again, for like Supergirl though, which did a shit job with it prior, in my opinion, it's good in comparison and it's solid enough. So yeah, they did a fine job there. No issues.
I agree with you, and I think this is one of the greatest strength of that season. It's character growth, something Supergirl writer don't really know a thing about because most of the time they try something out, it just doesn't work. And here it just feel great to follow him in his path and to see that kind of struggle he has. He really tried his best for like most of the season. He tried his best to like not get involved physically, to be peaceful. And the breaking point when Manchester Black does irredeemable stuff he cannot go
Irredeemable.
back. Yeah, exactly. That word you mentioned. Um, that point was the breaking point for John Johns, and I just think it's amazing. It's the best part of that season, and I'd say it's the best part of John John as a character in the entire TV show because he's kind of pushed aside in season 5 and 6, and it's such a shame they just wasted him so much. Um, but yeah, that's like my favorite part with Agent Liberty. There's just so much good things about season 4 as an entity. Um, yeah. Next question would be Alex in charge of the deal. You kind of already mentioned what were your thoughts, DC, but do you have anything else like really linked to that that you'd like to share?
No, no, not for me personally.
Okay. What about you, Cole? Alex in charge of the deal. Did you like it, Cole? What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, I have mixed feelings. I think it was done well in the season, but I would have preferred other things. I don't know, but that's kind of my basic thoughts on it.
Okay. Um, I personally thought it was good when she was really in charge. It got ruined very fast with the new character that was kind of placed above her. I could not stand that other character. That other character was just a damn plot device to obstruct Alex's growth, to obstruct the storyline. I truly hated the other character that was placed above her. It like undermined the idea of having Alex in charge. And it's just very sad because you give Alex the chance to be a leader, like a true leader, like being the one in charge, and you just strip that away for a stupid plot device character. You don't even strip that away with a character arc. No, you strip that away with a damn plot device shitty character. It's the most frustrating thing about season 4. Like the other character is one dimensional. That character just serves one purpose: piss off the viewer. Maybe a second purpose: piss off Alex and the deal. That's how I feel about whoever they placed above Alex. It annoyed me so much. And it's sad because in season 5 they cannot repeat the same shit, but with someone else above freaking Alex. It's so irritating. Just let her be in charge. She deserves it. She deserves a storyline of her own. Um, Now that we are into Alex, I will ask both of you another question. What did you think, starting with Cole? What did you think of Alex forgetting about Kara and slowly remembering about Kara by the end of the season? What did you think of that really cold like Alex toward Kara? Their interaction. Did you enjoy it or not?
Uh, I how to I for the most part enjoyed it just because I do like I liked what they were attempting. I do think the execution though was a little off. I feel like they could have spent more time on it. I think like I got what they were going for with it, and they I don't know. I feel like it was more of like an afterthought in some areas with it. I feel like it should have been more of a focus at some points in episodes.
I am on board with you. What did you think of that, DC, if you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, I remember, and I thought that storyline was awful. It was horrible for me. I like, and this is a reoccurring thing with Supergirl. Whenever they do something with Alex and Kara, it's like they always have to make it where something they're gonna have to do something that's gonna be extremely temporarily, whether it's removing memories from it, and it doesn't help that later on she finds out in the dumbest way possible, and that is, oh, Red Daughter's almost gonna kill Supergirl, and then she eventually remembers, and I'm like, Jesus, this is bad writing. So I wasn't a fan of it, and the way how they executed was terrible.
Okay, very interesting. So I agree with both of you. The way they executed stuff was terrible, and it also feel like um, they they didn't really understood well enough Alex's character to place her in that kind of situation and the reaction she has. Like, I will give a good example. Like, Alex stopped trusted. She stopped trusting Kara just because she was an alien, and it just feels wrong and off because she wasn't like that at her core. Like Alex, she was always someone that gave the benefit of the doubt to people, and that transferred to Kara as well because they spent so much time together. But Alex was always someone that stood up for the person that's bullied and that kind of stuff. So even if you take away Kara from her life through the memories, you don't really change that person. Maybe you can change some aspect, but not entirely. Entirely. I can't pronounce that word either. But
Really?
entirely, like um, the entire thing, you know. Um, so yeah, I, I'm just sad because that storyline could have been better, but it just felt poorly written. What else? Um, Manchester Black. What did you think of him as a supporting villain, DC?
Mm. I definitely thought he was a good villain. Definitely a good like secondary like main villain. And I also enjoy how he has with the Elite. But I feel like his storyline, I feel like was poorly executed, especially when he ended. I like the beginning where an alien essentially kills his fiance or girlfriend or wife, and it drives him mad. And I definitely like, but I feel like the way they handle his death was poorly executed. But overall, as a character, I enjoyed him as a character.
Okay, what about you, Cole? What did you think of Manchester Black? That was the leader of the elite, the guy that liked uh, ending lives of Sons of Liberty agents, and um, that
Sorry,
was
what's
like,
that?
what did you think of Manchester Black, the supporting villain that kind of drove Martian Manhunter to end someone's life? What did you think of Manchester Black? That was like the leader of the elite, like the extremists that kept
Yeah.
uh, offing people. What did you think of him?
Uh, I liked him overall. I I feel like it would have been better though. I mean, God, how do I? Okay, so it's like supporting villains like him, and in like with how they the way that they tried to do him. They either make them like very brutal or whatnot in one of two ways, either with like how they threaten people, and then you think like they're just gonna like kill someone, but they usually don't. But with how threatening they are, and suspenseful, you always think they will. And then secondly, when they usually just do all the time, and in pretty cool like scenes. I feel like the way the path they went with there between the two, mostly for him, I feel like they should have done the other way around. And there were definitely scenes with him that I didn't like the execution in. I thought it sort of reminded me of like some of the bad execution scenes in like The Dark Knight. That's the best way to describe it. Which I don't know if you guys like The Dark Knight, but I
I
mean
know.
I
I
like
thought
it.
that was great,
I mean I
but
liked it, but there's moments in there that are like a little try hardy and not executed well, especially because they were going for like a PG rating.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's one of them.
So I really enjoyed Manchester Black. He was there for many reasons. He was a really good plot device character. Let's be honest, that's what he was, because his purpose there was to drive Martian Manhunter into learning the truth that he cannot be a peaceful man. That was the first purpose of Manchester Black. And the second purpose of Manchester Black was to showcase that even aliens can go to extremes, and even them, they can be wrong. And that was great. And for a plot device character, I thought it was colorful and enjoyable and entertaining. Like, I'm the kind of person, you know me, guys. I hated when we got plot device characters, but I feel like that one is when you nailed it, when you did it right. Is it a perfect character? No, by any means. No plot device character can be perfect, but um, it was good. He had his place, he did his role, and yeah, it was like that kind of force of evil that goes after another force of evil. And at some point, he proves some of the points Agent Liberty did right because he was too extreme, and that's really cool. Like he was the perfect enemy for Agent Liberty, in fact. And I really like that aspect of Manchester Black. Um, Now we are in the guessing game. Um, DC, what do you think is my worst three episode for season four?
All right. So one of them has to be. Hmm, I'm thinking one of them is Bunker Hill. Um, Probably Blood Memory and Secrets and Lies.
Very interesting. What about you, Cole? What do you think is my worst three?
I guess I'll go with 19. 14. Actually, sorry, 19, 11, and then I guess 5.
Very interesting. Now, starting with Cole, what do you think is my top 3?
Top 3, okay. I guess so. 8, 3, and 16.
Okay. What about you, DC? What do you think is my top 3?
Hmm. I know one of them has to be Man of Steel, episode 3. Um, I'm gonna have to say every episode from Lex Luthor, when Lex Luthor is introduced to the finale as 1. And let's see. I guess Call to Action. And that's just a straight up.
Okay.
That's just a straight up guess.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, I think I will shock the both of you, but here we are. I will screen share. Now, I will repeat what I said in past stream. This needs to be updated. On my next watch, I will update it for sure, but this needs to be updated. So, this is what I did on my last viewing, but as I said, need to be updated. So, the worst one for me was episode 2 Fallout. I just had a bunch of issues with it. That's why it was this low. Now, the second one, I try to find it right now to make sure I don't mess up.
The not 10 or something? Suspicious Mind.
I see 20, but
Uh,
10, maybe you're right.
Suspicious Mind there. It's beside. Can you not see it? Or
I don't. I'm blind.
no, go up, and then on the right. No, up one more. Yeah, yeah. No, on in the middle of C, and then to the right there.
Oh, I see it. Okay. So, actually, that's funny because Parasite Lost is season 4. So the second worst would be Paradise
Oh
Lost
wait. Oh,
4,
okay. And then
5,
what? Wow, and then 21 or something.
4, 5, and 20.
Oh,
So
20.
my worst 3 are Fallout 4, 5, and 420. And Suspicious Mind is really in the middle. I can tell in the back half my issues. I know what it is. The stupid character they placed to be in charge of the deal. I truly hated that character.
Damn.
Even if they gave that character growth, I don't give a shit. Your character was just there to undermine someone else's growth. Yes, that character got growth. I admit that. Like that's good character arc what you're doing, but your character itself was in the way of someone else. That's why
Yeah.
I hate that character so much.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious why like 20 is lower than 19.
I think. Oh, I remember I had issues by the end. Kara had like her old paper and investigation ready, and she was like, "There's corruption in the government," and she just ended put the papers over the government that believes is corrupt. I thought that was damn stupid, and she admits to the guy, "Oh yeah, I don't have any copies." Stupid. I want to break my screen. I want to break something.
Mm-hmm.
I was rolling my eyes on how bad this shit was. I was like, bro, you're a journalist and you dare to freaking not have copies of this shit and you just send it over to whoever you think is freaking corrupt.
Damn.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah, pretty much.
I
I just
was
thought 19 was just as bad, but even poorly made. So I was just surprised that wasn't on there.
I was losing my mind over this shit. For real. Like, even on the first time I was watching it, I wasn't as critical like the first time when it first came out. I was like, there's something off about what's going on. I don't know what it is, but the more I
Okay.
rewatch it, the more like, that's shit. But
Okay.
yeah, my top three would be Man of Steel, one of the best episodes in the entire show. Red Dawn, I think that's the episode where they fight, where both Supergirl fight. I think maybe I'm wrong on that. And Aminza, I liked it. If I remember correctly, Aminza was the episode where Manchester Black lost his wife or something. I think that was the episode. And then Manchester Black goes on that arc of revenge and stuff.
Wait, which one?
Aminza, episode 4.
Wow, wait, that was one of your top 3?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's because that's one of the episodes where Manchester Black got his character arc starting. Am I right on that?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah, that's why I liked it.
I thought
so
that was
much.
a really poorly made episode, but damn, okay.
That I liked it so much. I probably didn't have that many issues because it's this high. But as I said, this list needs updating. On my next viewing, I will have a more updated one. But I just like these three episodes a lot. They reflect the best part of that season. Now that we covered for like 40 minutes this season, I think we are good to give a grade out of 10 for season 4, starting with DC.
A 5 out of 10.
Oh, very interesting. What about you, Cole?
Yeah, 5.
I will sound crazy. 8.5 out of 10 for me. There's a point
So
five.
this is better than Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Anytime.
You are out of your mind.
Yeah. I thought that was better. I think it's really hard to compare a TV show and a movie because that's two very different format, bro. But yeah, 8.5, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. That's the peak the show got. It doesn't go any higher. It can only go lower. But be reassured, Cole. Season 5 is better than 1 or 2. It's still bad. Season 6, same thing. Season 6 is better than 5. So there's still light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. I guess we can move on to the next topic. My adventures with Superman. Episodes 7 and 8. Who wants to start?
I guess I will just quickly. Yeah, episode 7. That was so great, wasn't it, guys? Because that's exactly what we needed. We needed another multiverse episode. That's in this day and age.
I mean, it was better than how some movies have handled the multiverse. And besides
yeah. Sorry, but okay. Look, I don't think the episode was bad whatsoever. I think it was still solid or all right, and I think it's one of the weakest, along with episode 1, in my opinion, in the show, and along with this one other I forgot. Yeah, I think this pretty much this in episode 1 kind of were to an extent. But that's not because it's bad. This is still a solid, enjoyable episode. It's purely just because I'm tired. Number 1, I'm tired of the multiverse stuff. All right, and number 2, it's just besides the ending, the very end, which leads to other stuff in episode 8, which is a hell of a lot better. It's kind of a filler episode, honestly. So that's the reason why mainly. Other than that, I mean, yeah, I did. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I did enjoy the rest of it, sure, and the opening and everything, and certain character stuff. Like, it was not bad at all, and also I don't know if that Is there? I'm not familiar with the comics. Like, I mean, I'm sure this is like, if there was anything like it, it's like a different made up version of it. But is there actually some like character in the comics at all and like multiverse stuff that is kind of like sort of like a multiverse
I
ghost
think
type thing?
I think the Olsen one that's linked to James, I think she is his sister. I think because I know she appears in Supergirl, the TV show. I'm pretty sure that's the sister, but I may be wrong on that. Uh,
Okay.
I think DC knows best. Am I
Yeah,
right on
yeah,
that? That's like James'
yeah,
sister.
yeah. I think so. But yeah, in case you're
Yeah.
wondering, yeah, I don't think that there is like a league of Lois
No,
Lanes.
well, no, I don't mean that. I mean the like the ghost thing, whatever they're called. It's called.
The ghost thing.
I mean the thing they're chasing after that was fucking messing
Oh,
around.
That's
oh,
Bisley, Mr. Bisley.
Yeah, so I'm
Mister.
saying is that like obviously this is probably a different version of it within the design and stuff. If there was one, but if there is there any sort of character like that in the comics at all? That's like
Oh,
some multiverse thing.
oh,
I
yeah,
I
yeah,
think yeah,
yeah.
because he was also there in he was
Super,
there in Smallville season 4. You probably forget him, but he was
Yeah,
there in
because
season
it's so
4.
different that I kind of forgot. And also that season gave me dementia. Uh,
But he's also in Supergirl. He appeared in season 2, I believe,
right. Okay, now
and
I'm
he comes back.
remembering.
He comes back in season 5, and he is
Holy
much better in
cow.
season 5 than what he was in season
Yeah, my
4.
bad. But yeah, I mean, okay, I just wanted to make sure. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
he is the comic book. Yeah, he's in the comics. That
but
one.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the design they came up with this in this episode, it's almost like they just ripped it out of Dragon Ball Z. But anyway, so yeah, again, nothing else to really say. I mean, they did a solid job. It isn't a bad episode at all. There's some good gigs. I guess it's kind of interesting. It sets up some stuff later on for episode 8 and such, which is actually very interesting at the end. And the opening and stuff are interesting, and some other character stuff and action stuff, which is all right. Again, it's just that I'm so sick of multiverse stuff, but mainly this is just like a filler episode for the most part. So because of that, it kind of has to be like next to episode 1 is one of the lowest for me. But again, not because it's like bad at all, I guess. But I mean, also this is an episode where I guess all the people online who already hate the character of Lois in this show really cried.
You don't help yourself when you make your Chinese. That's all
We
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
say.
We don't know what if she's Chinese or anything. She's just Asian American. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
You don't help
But
yourself, bro. Like,
yeah. Well, no, it's not just that. It's just, I mean, people.
she's a brat.
No, it's just like there's a bunch of babies online who keep complaining about her character and how she acts with certain things, and it's like there's a couple times where yes, they're completely right, but for the most part, like a lot of them is just like fucking sexist bitching. Pretty much, it's like it's no different than what the all three of the characters kind of act, except just she's female, so because of that, it's more annoying to them and everything, and like bitchy. So yeah, I mean, there are points where they are just like tone deaf and everything with how they utilize the character and writer, but then there's a lot of points where it's just that. And this is this episode. There's like one moment like that where it was a bit tone deaf, but outside of that, it really was just like man babies online bitching. So I mean that was funny to laugh at. But anyway, that's all I have to really say. Also, I guess the animation was pretty good too in this episode. Anyway, let's continue.
DC, did you liked it?
Yeah, I enjoyed this episode.
So I will let you go on then.
All right,
Give me
so
the positive slice of meat between two slices of bread.
yeah, yeah. Unlike Cole, I actually kind of enjoyed the multiverse. I do agree. I'm getting a little tired of it, but
I know that's all. I'm not saying they did it poorly. I'm just tired of it personally.
yeah, I agree. But I like how in this one they actually went and did something unique and actually went in the comics, like how they explain that there's bad Superman. There's the Superman from Lois's Earth, is a good one, and I also like how they use Mr. Mix, because for those that don't know, he's actually a fifth dimensional imp. And he's actually one of the most powerful Superman villains, so that's why I actually like that they added him with the multiverse, because in reality it kind of fits him really well. But yeah, and so I enjoy it. And I also like how they sort of attribute to him in the comics where he just plays pranks, like Superman, like he tricks Superman into thinking, oh, Lois is in danger, when in reality he wasn't, and even Superman even was like, why? So that's why I enjoyed Mixie as a character. I thought he was a good villain. And I like how in the end, Superman didn't actually take him down, how he quickly escaped prison, and how he's like, well, it's gonna be fun to see you learn more and more about Superman. And yeah, I think Mixie was by far the best part of this episode.
Anything else to add?
Not for me. Not for me. I pretty much said everything.
Roasting time. It's
oh,
weird.
you're gonna roast this.
It's weird that's hard to reach the headquarter, but it's easy to get any weapon. It's like he needed a huge plot to just reach the headquarter, and once he's inside, he's like, oh, I can just open that drawer and have a bunch of weapons. Wow. Big brain, writers. The League of Lois is full of one-dimensional shitty character. That was so sad.
Well, I mean, I think that was kind of the joke, how they were like kind of making fun at how like the majority of type of like Lois characters in old Superman stuff is kind of one-dimensional and just like the same like that, no matter what they do with changing up the stories and such. Now whether the one in this one also is or not, though, but yeah, still.
I think how Pizlik just escaped isn't properly explained. It's just like, oh, he escaped, and that's it. By the end, it's like, wow, lazy, guys, lazy. Why?
Well, I mean, to be fair, what else were they kind of supposed to do?
Let him rot in prison.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I think they might make up for it though with what they have for planned later. It depends what they do, I would say.
Yeah.
And I will say, just like Cole, this was filler. The only reason why, like, the only defense we could get to say it's not filler, it's the cliffhanger. But if your entire episode is filler and only the cliffhanger matter, it's kind of sad and it's a waste of time of an episode. So yeah, with these issues, I have a few likes. I thought the opening scene was cool. Some of the humor did land this time around, which is shocking coming from that show. I was entertained. The big action sequence was cool. But yeah, that was one of the weakest episode. I will actually take a look at my notes, but I think that's my least favorite we got. It's all season long. Yeah,
Probably my least favorite, but
it's my
again,
least favorite.
When it comes to enjoyment, it's not like my weakest. Like again, episode 1 just did a lot of things poorly to start off, in my opinion, and even with just like how it's made with the animation and stuff. So that probably is. But if we're talking about just like, if we're talking about just like, that stuff, yeah, it's probably like the worst. Again, just it's a filler episode. It's just filler.
Yeah, and it's not great. So for me, that episode would be a 6.5 out of 10. What about you, DC?
Probably a 9 out of 10.
And what about you, Cole?
Like a 6 out of 10.
Wow, I'm really close to Cole this time around. Okay, next episode 8. Um, so who wants to go first on that one?
Marvel can, I guess.
Yeah, I guess because I probably am gonna be the most negative out of a bunch of us. But yeah, I didn't hate this episode, but I thought it was average. Like some things I didn't like. I didn't like how for one truck incident where Surin accidentally crashed it just to save someone, everyone's like saying, "Oh, he's some sort of terrorist." And I'm like, really? I can literally think of a million ways he you should be afraid of him if he actually is bad, but just a simple accident, no. No, I don't think that's nearly huge enough. Maybe that's just me, but yeah. Another thing I didn't like was how Jimmy constantly every time he pulled up his phone, it was like showing the live stream of, oh look, it's Surin and he's battling somebody or he caused an accident. And I'm like, wait, well, who's recording that and who's doing that? Because for me, I when I look at the people there, I don't see a single person. Besides, why would someone even risk their lives for something like that? So I wasn't the biggest fan of that, and I kind of felt it was a little very like hard to believe. Like I get that there will be people who would record stuff, but not on that level of an extent. Um, Other things I didn't enjoy. Um, the one thing I didn't like was how you know I think that's about it when it comes to my negatives. As for things I enjoyed, I enjoyed seeing all the villains team up against Superman. I enjoyed how depressing the atmosphere was, and as someone who personally enjoys seeing more cloudy days than sunny days, that's just part of about me that I like. I like how this episode was more cloudy than your typical sunny days. And it really fit well with the atmosphere. I enjoyed um let's see. I also enjoyed how Clark kind of got triggered when Lois said the word normal to him. Because Mr. Mix in the previous episode kind of told him that no, he will never become normal, so it's just his destiny. So, but yeah. Other than that, I also enjoyed how Saran was trying to locate the general using that one guy who can the mist, which I enjoyed as well. And I also enjoyed how in reality Saran didn't actually win. So yeah, that's all for me for now.
So do you want to go next, Cole? I guess Cole forgot to unmute himself, or
No. Sorry, I
okay.
was just checking up on something. My bad. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this episode. It's actually possibly one of my favorites in the show, just because I really liked. I think they tackled multiple things in this one. Like other episodes, they kind of tackled only like one thing, maybe two. But in this, there were multiple things they kind of tackled, and I think the pacing was well done, and I think they executed them all pretty well. I do think like the how do I say the well, what made people that scene that with people being scared of him or like what he did accidentally, they could have done that better. Of course, that was a bit dumb, maybe, but I think I guess it had more to do with I guess the writers and stuff had limited time with this episode. I don't know, but again, you had a fucking filler episode last week. Anyway, other than that, though, I kind of like what they did, and I like the all the character dynamics and stuff. And they also in the other episodes they kind of like spent too much time on maybe like one of the three characters, but in this one I think they spent a good amount of time on all three of the main characters in this. And I also like the supporting characters in this one, unlike episode 3 or whichever one it was, where I was kind of just annoyed by the rival reporters. I didn't really care about them. So yeah, I also enjoy like the climax and ending and everything that they did. So yeah,
I really like that one. I think that was probably my favorite episode of my adventures with Superman. Um, Now, I will address Smallville because Smallville is very similar to my adventures with Superman, right? Like, we get a Clark that doesn't fully control all of his powers and he gets to earn them as the series goes. And in Smallville, when he got his super earring, he needed to practice and train to master it. In this show, he freaking gets it by accident, just like Smallville. But there's the thing, he doesn't need any training. By the end of the week, damn, he got full control over Super Earring. And this pisses me off so much. So, my issue with this episode is plot convenience. Clark unlocking Super Earring when he needed it to hear about the general evil plans. It's just very convenient. Why don't you like plant your seeds in episode 7 or episode 6 where he kind of hears some stuff but he doesn't really know what's going on, and slowly it becomes more often and more often. Early in the episode he gets to hear a neighbor, I don't know, and then you get him to train, or like even Superman and Lois gave some training to Jordan to master his super earring. So every media lets Superman and whoever has powers to train to master it. Here, no. Like, just by accident, he just happens to hear the big villain plans. It pissed me off so much. But that's the only issue I got. That episode, I had a blast the rest of the time. Um, So the opening scene was cool. Vicky Vale as a character felt real because some people do think like that, like nobody is good, or if you want to impress, say something else that the rest of the group doesn't say. Superman using his hearing to understand what the general is searching for. Outside of like having it by accident, when he decides to use it properly, that was cool. The CD turning against Superman. Now, I know that was one of your gripes with it, DC, but I will have somewhat of a defense toward it. Superman is still very new in this universe. Like, he just started being out as Superman. But I do get your point, and I agree with most of it. That's why I didn't say anything, but it feels right that they would turn on him because they don't really know him well. Like, he's been Superman for like what, a month, 2 months, and like when we got reporter like Vicky Vale that's want to worse that to show the worst, then there's no surprise people would stop believing in Superman because he's not as solid as he would be. Um, so that part, I liked it. Vicky Vale going after Superman was cool. The action sequence was the best part of it. I really enjoyed Superman against that team of superpowered people. That was great. That was the highlight of the episode. And Superman losing that fight, man, it was sad. I really liked that episode a lot. I don't have much more to say here. I said pretty much everything. Is there anything else, anything you'd like to say, Cole? Because I've seen you turning your mic on.
no, I was nothing else. I said everything. I was just doing something.
Okay, so what would be your grade out of 10, DC?
Hmm. Probably a 6.
Okay, what would be your grade out of 10, Cole?
A 9. I kind of have no issues with it outside of the two. Just feel like they could have spent a little more time in some areas, but that's more of a time constraint thing. And then I also agree with you. It would have been better if they did things across other episodes leading up to it, such as hearing the voices and stuff like that before this.
So my one issue, it's one issue with this episode, so I will give it 9.7 out of 10. But I already mentioned how they could have improved and fixed that issue. That was quite easy. Make him train, uh, like not let him. Don't let him like hear stuff by accident when there's no proper seeds and setup. Anyway, 9.7 for me in that individual specific episode. I liked it a lot. Probably my favorite one so far. Anything else guys would like to add to my adventures with Superman? I guess not. So next topic, Arrow Season 8. Who wants to start on that one?
I guess I will. I
Okay.
personally I thought Arrow season 8 was the perfect ending for the show. I'm not saying that it's like my favorite season, but I thought it was a very good ending. But yeah, I enjoyed how, unlike some people who have a problem with the whole like sci-fi stuff, I never had a problem with it. I never even had a problem with it in season 4, and the reason why is because I always thought it doesn't really matter. Like, they could have a Green Arrow or a Batman show where all it is it can be multiverse, time travel, and all that, and I really wouldn't really care, unlike some people. But yeah, I also enjoyed how this season was more about Oliver's journey, but tied more with the fact that this is obviously the last time we're gonna see him. So I always thought they handled it really well. You know, like in episode 6, when Oliver constantly is forced to is realizes says and that's a time loop over and over, and he can't save Lance no matter what. I enjoy that. So I also enjoyed how this season was just strictly Oliver focused, unlike the final season of The Flash, where it was everyone focused, um, specifically Cecile. So so that's why I enjoyed all this season, and you also see Oliver having to say goodbye to all the other people. And I also enjoy how this one they actually attribute to the entire show. And this is something I had a gripe with the Flash season 9. They just kept the same intro from season 6B all the way to the finale in season 9, and they didn't attribute to the other seasons. Whereas Arrow generally did that to establish that they still cared about the other seasons as well. Even if some seasons were terrible, they still acknowledged them at the very least. So, yeah.
I'd like to add something else here. Even if it was Oliver centered, we still got very interesting thing about Diggle and Black Siren. Black Siren finished her redemption arc. Like she was on her way to have her redemption in season 7, but that wasn't a sealed deal. That wasn't like the very end. But in season 8, she gets that proper redemption sealed because now she's helping Adrian on her too, and now she could like betray Oliver to fulfill her personal need, but she didn't because that's wrong. So now she has that campus, and it's just wonderful. Now, when it comes to Oliver, or I should say Diggle, it's more like he wants to try his best to protect Oliver, even if he doesn't want to be protected. He is along for the ride, and his arc kind of finished with the crossover, and it's very sad the moment he realizes Oliver died twice and he wasn't around either time. That's very tragic. That's very sad. And that's also accurate because even if you try your best, you cannot stop someone from dying. So that's the small tangent I wanted to say. I won't speak too much there. I will let Cole talk a bit more about the season, and then once Cole is done with his thoughts with season 8, I will develop more on my thoughts on season 8.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed season 8. It's actually one of my favorites. Isn't my favorite, but one of them. I was pretty surprised by this because usually when CW does a finale season, especially if it's shorter, it's usually pretty shit. But with this, it was pretty great, honestly. Again, I think they got almost all of the characters right. I think it was shot well. I think the action was really done well. I think the storylines were really intriguing, and I think the villain stuff and the all that stuff was also very intriguing. I really don't have too many issues with this. I mean, if I were to have any issues with it, then maybe how do I say? Maybe some of the episodes felt a little because they had less episodes to work with this season. It felt a little maybe rushed with certain points with making sure everybody's well, everything's like closed, closed off and everything. There's no like, there's nothing left open. Like everybody gets gets everything done with pretty much. So yeah, that would probably be like my only flaw with like the overall season and everything with like what they did there. And I say overall season because there is one big flaw I have, but let's save that for later. You actually you can probably guess what it is, Multi. You want to say what it is?
Freaking Mia and the Canary spin-off that died
Yeah.
in the egg.
Yeah, let's just pretend like that episode never exists. All right.
I will
Let's
add
just save
more
us
to
time.
this shit. It's funny how it got like killed in the egg because based on what I heard, they had plans, and everyone except Catherine McNara accepted, which is the lead. And the reason she declined and said no, it's because apparently that was like not a leading role she would have gotten. She would have gotten a co-lead role with um, the character that's Dinah and Black Siren as well. So basically, that would be like three leads for the show, like a bit like Legends of Tomorrow or Superman and Lois. And because of that, Catherine McNara was like, "Oh no, I'm not interested. I only want to be like the only lead," and that killed the show. And it's hilarious because as much as she got growth and she got better in season 8, she's still not a good enough character to hold a show on her shoulders. She's not a good enough actress to pull that one off, and the writing of the character is not good enough. Like, she's really like Oliver, but gender swapped. They didn't really polish the character at all. There's no other layers. There's no other aspect to that character. She's like a broody person that had a sad past because daddy wasn't around. Um, it's sad. It's just sad. I'm all in for like movie and TV shows led by women when it's done right. Like, give me a Black Siren spin-off. I like Black Siren so much. Give me even Dinah. She wasn't perfect, but at least she worked better than Mia. So that's funny how they just canceled that because Catherine McNara thought she deserved better. It really reflects this generation. It's like, you deserve better, so decline if you don't get better. It's like, it's better. It's funny. It reflects society so well in 2023, you know?
Yep.
And I'm sure give the proper scenario to the actress. I'm sure she can pull that one off. I'm sure she can be good. But a gender swapped Oliver just doesn't work. Like, Catherine McNara is too small to act tough. She is too like a doll to act tough. She is a pretty woman. I won't lie. I think she is really good looking. But she's like a doll. So it's that when I see her fight, I see the actress being scared to break her nail. So it doesn't fit well for me. It doesn't sit well for me. Am I crazy to say that? Am I crazy to say that, guys? Really? When she
Yeah,
fights, I I feel like
Yeah.
she's scared to break her nails.
yeah, I can
Yeah,
kind of
no,
see that.
that's accurate. It's like the birds of prey fights.
So, like, on top of that, she got a few really good fights, but it's really hard to make me believe into that Mia Smoke character being able to take on like people twice her size. Even if she got trained by Nitz, I don't care. She's too small. She is not muscular, and that goes back to the other woman that had fights in the Arrow TV show, Sarah Lance. The girl is fit. Like, you could see her train and work out. So the actress that played Sarah Lance is fit. Is she tall? Not that much. She's like average size, but she's not like very small. And no, she has muscle, so it's believable. Or here again, Black Siren, the actress is big enough, I think, and I'm pretty sure she trains as well. And Dinah is the tallest girl in the show, so it's very believable. She's also kind of buff and big for a woman. So these three female characters I mentioned, it's very believable to see them having a fight. Even Katrina Law, the actress that plays Nissa, she's also fit. She's also tall, so it's very believable. Even freaking Tia, it's believable when Tia fights. Um, so yeah, Mia Smoke, I sad, but I don't like you. You're not a good character. So I'm glad the spin-off died. Um, so is there anything else you'd like to share, Cole? I guess not. Go. Go.
It's either
Oh
isn't.
shit! I'm sorry. I'm trying to check on things right now. Uh,
Is there
I'll give
anything
it.
else you'd like to share, Cole, about season 8 before I really move on with season 8?
Uh, well, about the overall show, no. Again, there's nothing like I really have to say into detail other than that they finally did a finale season properly, and with a good close. Besides that one episode, and Oliver actually got his fucking full arc. So hey, here we go.
So okay, I will take the floor now. Um, I thought season 8 was amazing. This most recent watch was my most liked one. That was my favorite watch, and I really value that season much more than I used to, and I really liked what they did, and I think I actually liked that season a bit more than season 1. And it's the first time I come up and say this. And that's coming from someone that will stand by in season 1 being amazing and all. And I'd say this season was solid. And I was like, having issues with individual episode was challenging for me, because that's just good TV what we got with season 8. And I was surprised. The biggest complaint I would get would be all of the flash forward shit. I really hated this crap. There, like, only in the first episode it worked fine for me, and yeah, that was like the only episode where I didn't add issues with what they did in the flash forward. But the rest of the damn season where we had flash forward like episode 2 and 3, I truly hated these flash forward. I wanted to skip them and just watch what mattered, what was good. um I really hate the flash forward. I wish that was better, but the other thing is they don't even try to make the future look different. All they do is a different filter to make everything look like darker and grittier. So I'm like, okay, at least you tried, but that's not enough for me. Like, okay, um, it's not good, and Zoe in the future, I don't care about that character. So when she was off by Deathstroke, I didn't care at all. I was like, okay, she she vanished. That was the thing, right? Um, and that's funny because I actually think she's believable when she fights because she's still very tall and she looked kind of big. It's really like Mia, man, you're too small. You're like a shrimp. Don't fight, girl. Like, do your nail. I don't know. Um, so yeah, that's how I see season 8. Like the downside is really like the flash forward, and I feel like Connor is also one of the weakest character we got this season. It wasn't that great. It wasn't bad by any means, but it wasn't that great. Um, yeah. What other issue I would get? Uh, that's like the biggest sin of season 8. That's why I'm like, season 8 is actually solid because my issue is a nitpick, and some episodes are a bit weaker. Um, when we had fight involving several people, more like than like two heroes, like, but here again, that's like mainly Flash Forward that does that, where we have like 5 good guys that fight like 20 bad guys. I think these fights are not that great. When we got one guy that fight many, like in episode 10, that's well done because the focus is on one person doing cool move against several. But when we got like a bunch of people that fight another bunch of people, the camera goes everywhere and you don't know where to focus, and you're like, what am I supposed to enjoy? Like, it's chaos. It's not that great. Like, sometimes it can work when it's the first time you have complete chaos, if that's like the intent you got behind the camera shots and the camera work. But if it's because you're lazy or you just want spectacle, it's wrong. It's wrong. Don't do that. And the flash forward, they keep doing this shit. It's like everyone can fight except William. And I'm fine with William not being able to fight. That's fine, but like there's so many people involved. I don't like this shit. That was something that really happened in season 6 a lot. And season 4 as well did it so many times. But yeah, I think the writing is solid, and the way they approached that season, they wanted to acknowledge every season. Episode 1 had lots of things in common with season 1 plot, and that was great. Episode 2 had Hong Kong, which was something they set up at the end of season 2, which was good. Episode 3 was like season 3 because that was Ra's al Ghul and the legacy left, and that was Tia because that's when Tia got trained, and that was also the season we got to meet Nissa and yeah. And season 4 paid homage to season 2. Episode 4 paid homage to season 2 with the Deathstroke gang doing Deathstroke stuff in the city. And that was really cool. Episode 5 was a good homage to season 5. I will say the same about 6 and 7. It's it's just a really solid season. I really liked that season a lot. Um, I got a few questions. Um, so Cole, what did you think of Black Siren?
Black Siren.
Yeah, what did you think of Black Siren this season?
Um, yeah, I thought Black Siren was good. I don't, not the best, I think, out of all seasons, but good.
Okay, what about you, DC? What did you think of Black Siren this season?
I definitely thought she was a good character. Usually I wasn't the biggest fan of her character, but I thought in season 8 she was done well.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what else? We covered a lot of ground there. So I will ask DC, what would be your worst three episode in season 8?
Mm. There's only just two now, just be episode 9 and episode 10. Apart from those two, I think my top three favorites would have been probably so hard. I know episode 6 is one of them. Um, episode 2 and episode 7. Apart from the first 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it's definitely one of my favorites. Oh yeah, no, wait, no, sorry. Then episode 7, 9, and 10 are the ones I enjoyed the least. Episode 6, 1, and I'm just gonna say 2.
Okay, and I'm curious, why didn't dislike episode 10, the last?
I mean, I didn't necessarily thought it was one of the worst episodes. Just like I said before with season 7, I just wasn't a fan of the whole documentary kind of stuff. In my eyes, I felt like it wasn't worth necessary. Apart from that, that was a good finale. But it's just the documentary stuff I kind of took away from the stuff.
And I will add something I just remembered. A lot of people don't like the fact that um, Oliver was able to bring back Tommy, but not his father, because Tommy was the reason Oliver stopped uh, ending people lives left and right. I actually got a good argument on why it doesn't affect that much, because anyway, by the end of season 1, when Tommy learned the truth, he was criticizing Oliver a lot about his methods. He was like, "You're a murderer. It's wrong what you do." And I feel like even if Tommy was alive, at some point Oliver would have changed his way anyway, because he worked with Diggle as well. Maybe not in season 2, but instead in season 3 or 4, Oliver would have slowly changed his method over time. So I'm fine with Tommy being brought back. Uh, what are your thoughts about what I just said, DC?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I have a much of a problem because like I don't think I have much of a problem because I kind of know what would have happened. Pretty much all. But and besides, I feel like if Oliver was to bring back his father, I feel like it would have changed way too much.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like how was thinking recently back in June when there's always that one event you always want to change back, go back in
yeah,
time and change it. But at the same time, the more you thought about it, you can't because it will just destroy reality. That's pretty much what this is all about.
yeah,
If Oliver just saved Tommy, then more likely the reality would still be the same, just with few differences. But if
yeah,
he changed back and saved his father, so many different changes would happen, and I think at that point it probably would have destroyed reality, kind of like what happened with the Flash season 3 with Flashpoint.
yeah. What did you think of that, Cole? Oliver being able to bring back Tommy despite the rule not bringing back people like Robert Queen.
Uh, I'll kind of agree with what Marvel said about it.
Okay, that's very good. And I'd like to ask another question here. What does he think of Oliver keeping Black Siren instead of bringing back the original Laurel, because she asked that to Quentin, and Quentin was like, but there's nothing to change. Like, he did what he thought was right. What did you think of that kind of twist? Because I know a lot of the fan base would be like, they didn't bring back the original Laurel, so it's wrong. What
Yeah,
are your
no,
feeling
I
about
think,
that?
yeah, what are you like the new one or not? I think it makes a lot of sense, story wise and with character development and in like the scenes and stuff and episodes of what they did. I think it makes sense and is actually kind of a unique story thing they decided to do, which is rare for a CW show.
Yeah. What did you think of that, DC?
Yeah, I personally thought, well, because a lot of fans prefer Black Siren over the actual Laurel, I feel like Oliver just kind of did to just sort of appease the fans. Besides, by that point, Black Siren has been redeemed, so I don't think I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. Just bring back Earth 2. Besides, Earth 2 really wasn't the best Earth in the multiverse. So I think Oliver also had a better reason not to bring it back. But yeah, for most part, I was okay with them not bringing back Earth 2.
And I will also add more to what you guys said. The first time I have seen that, I was glad, because I'm like, this means all of the time we spent on Black Siren changing and growing as a character throughout season 5, 6, 7, and 8 meant something. They kept something, and they're like, not everything is changed. Like, her character arc mattered for someone and something. And there's another layer to that. It's also showcased that in the end, Oliver respected a lot how Black Siren redeemed herself. And this is telling a lot. This is a great reflection of his reaction he had in season 7 toward her when she just wanted to help him, and he didn't believe it because he was like, I don't believe it. There's something up for you in the end. And by the end of the season, you kind of realize she wants to change. And season 8, it's like the pinnacle, it's like the peak of that change. And Oliver is like, yeah, she has changed. She deserves that second chance more than the other. And that was amazing. I think that was peak storytelling for like Oliver and Laurel in this show, even if it's Laurel from R2. Now, I asked DC is top and worst. I will ask you, Cole, what would be your worst 3 episode in season 8?
Season 8. Well, I guess I will go episode. Yeah, I guess episode 2, episode 5, just because I think some of the filmmaking was a bit lazy and could have been done better. I think there was a lot of missed opportunities there. So yeah, that too. I thought some of this, story stuff was weak. And then, I mean, lastly, do I even need to say? Do I need to even say the fucking episode?
Calories, calories.
Yes, and also I was also counting Crisis on Infinite Earth episode because again, I actually think that episode is very good, surprisingly, and definitely the best out of the Infinite Earth ones. And the one to follow after is just fucking heap and pile of dog shit.
And what would be your top 3?
Top 3 probably episode 1, episode 6, and then episode 4. And I did like obviously episode 10, yeah, and everybody loves it because it's the final episode and it actually does it right. But I mean, if we're talking about just personally, then that definitely would be top 3 for me. But I just think objectively those 3 are better made. So
Well, you have every right to. Like, that's how I approach the entire show so far. This is why sometimes you were surprised by what I said. because I'm very objective on what I did. But of course, there's subjective touch to it because it's not fully objective,
Look,
you know.
and no matter what you do, there's going to be some subjectivity to it, which is why I
Yeah,
think it's stupid for people to do that stuff. It's just
yeah,
like the other day. It's like that was clearly subjectivity by Jaded. All right,
yeah.
I listen. No, I went back and I listened to the interviews by them just to clarify this with the Spider Verse film what they did, and it's true. They said yes, all those are designs like over 200 and stuff from all forums that of Spider-Man that was ever in the comics. All right, the majority of them are not the actual characters though. They're just they're similar in design and everything as Easter eggs, but they're not the same. They're in a different universe and different ones, and with a lot of them being going from attires to full characters. All right, so that just proved Jaded's bitch and wrong about that paper bag Spider-Man. Anyway, now let's solve. Okay.
Yeah. So the guessing game, starting with DC. What do you think is my worst three episode in um season 8?
All right.
There's one that's like free. So what would be the other two?
All right. So, the episodes I think you enjoy the least have got to be episode 4, episode 5, and episode 9.
Okay. What about you, Cole?
Your worst.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say episode 2, episode. Episode 2, episode 3, and episode 9.
Yeah. And what about my top three, starting with DC?
All right. So, episode 1, Sterling City, maybe episode 2, and I guess episode 10.
Very interesting. What about you, Cole?
One. Sorry, 1 sec. 1, 4, and 10.
Okay. The reveal. The reveal is coming.
Yeah, you see, I would have gone with a reset, but I don't know. There was something in my mind that made me feel like there's maybe like Amen or cop type things you might have hated with it.
Do you want a reset? I will let you reset before I reveal.
No, no, no. So there's a pun.
Okay. The reveal arrives. Da 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 da. Now I need to specify something. Fade out. As much as I liked a lot the big fight, the best fight the show had, I must admit, people can't freaking aim. I hated the shit. It was unbelievable at all. All people just they see him and he has enough time to shoot his arrow to stop them. Or when he's like on the ground and he has enough time to like shoot in the air to escape. No. So fade out is like it's amazing in terms of like story wise. That's why it's my on top of my S tier, but it's not a perfect episode. That would be like for me 9.7. That's why it's not in my top 3, because my top 3 is filled of 10 out of 10 episodes. And as much as Reset had a lot of action, I thought it was very believable how people were not able to hit really Oliver, because Oliver, I gotta say this season, he was back in his prime. It feels like he's a competent fighter again, and he uses his arrows as decoys, as he explained in episode 5. He's like, some of your arrow are just like to disperse and to distract people around, and he uses all of the tools he has to like protect himself and Quentin in episode Reset. That's why it was great, and that's also why I think season 8 talked to me so much, because in season 7 it felt like he wasn't in his prime anymore. He was really broken, and even when it came to fighting abilities, it was good with his archery skills. But sometimes in fight, some people felt like they were able to best him, and it just felt wrong. But here, this season, it just doesn't happen. He just bodies everything and everyone, every obstacle except for death itself. Um, so yeah, I will scroll down for the worst tree. Guys, all right. Green Arrow and the Canaries. I'd say it's hands down the worst episode of the entire show because Mia is not a good character whatsoever, and she's a focus. And as much as I like post-crisis world and all, the idea could have been good. It's not a good episode. I just don't care. I skipped this shit. I ate it. Um, Now, welcome to Hong Kong. Um, I thought I had a bunch of issues with it. People can't aim. Future's storyline pisses me off so much at that point. It dragged down the show so much for me. And this is one of the episodes where it's chaotic. Like we got like the future storyline where we got like four fighters in the good guy side that just fight like bunch of minions, and like it's chaotic. Like it's just chaotic because they don't know how to handle factory refi with more than like two focus. Um, and it's funny because sometimes they do it right. Like a good example in Hong Kong, like the one of the first few scenes where Oliver and Diggle are just going through a ollie and they beat down everyone. That was a great fight. But guess what? The focus was on two guys instead of like a full squad of people. That's why it worked out well. As I said, I I think it matters a lot on where's your focus at. Even in the very end in Fade Out, the big fight I really liked and I think is the best fight scene the show had. There's bunch of enemies, but the focus is at the right place and you get to see and understand everything that's going on. It's not chaotic despite having so many people involved. It's well choreographed, but the future storyline, I feel like they hired B Team because A Team was occupied making good stuff, and they're like, B Team, do the bad stuff we don't like. Like B Team is just incompetent or something. B Team, let them have a fight. And Leap of Fate, it's the same deal as Welcome to Hong Kong. As much as I like some of the ideas, Future man, the Future kids, I really hated them. Um, and Prison Tense. Now I gotta say something about Prison Tense. What's funny about that one? That one has different issues from the others. It doesn't have that many issues because it's still S material for me. But um, the Prison Tense, one of its sins is like people creating drama over lies. That was obviously not at season 4. It's like obvious because like the epicenter of the drama was freaking lies, which I hate. Um, so yeah, that's like my list. And now we will do something special about this stream here because now we are done with Arrow, and Arrow is one of my favorite show ever, and I feel like we are not fully done with the talk about this show. What would be your top 10 episode in the entire show, DC?
Mm. Ooh, that's a tough one. I know number one would be Capuchon. It would be season 5 episode season 5 episode 17. Hmm. Number 2. Hmm. That's a tough one. Well, let me just.
when you think about it, maybe I will ask Cole, what would be your top 10 episode?
I'll be honest, I don't know if I would like quite remember. I would need time to like just look at this quickly, I guess. I'm so sorry if you can hear my cat in the background.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, so since you guys can't remember, I will at least give mine because I got mine right before my eyes. Liam New, best episode in the entire show, followed by Capuchon in second place, Inmate 4587 third place, The Promise, which was the Deathstroke one, um, Prochnost, that was season 8, Reset season 8, Starting City season 8, Level 2, that was like season 7 and the prison stuff. Docket number 11, 19, 41, 73, that was the trial of Oliver in season 6, and the Longbow Hunters in season 7 again. These are my top 10. I thought they're really solid episode. Anytime I would go back and rewatch. Um, did you got any other ideas, DC, about the rest of your top
Yeah,
10?
yeah, I did, dude. And I'm not gonna go in any particular order. So here we go. So obviously I said number one, which that's gonna remain. I also like the season 4 finale, Schism, Dark Waters, the mid-season finale of season 4, uh, Blood Depths, the season 4 mid-season premiere. I enjoyed Vertigo, The Promise, the flashback in season 2, The Climb, Fundamentals, from episode 1 through 7 of season 7, the prison arc, Reset, in Hong Kong. Those are the ones that just came up to for a majority of my mind, for the most part.
That's very good. So now that we talked in length about season 8, starting with Cole, what would be your grade out of 10 for season 8?
For this would be like a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10 around that range. But also, I tried to think of 10, and I'll just like say some that popped up in my head. I guess.
Yeah. Tell yours.
I guess
I'm
like
curious to
Broken
hear.
Arrow, Starland City, the Slabside Redemption, the Deathstroke episodes, the Odyssey, Three Ghosts, the Promise, pretty much everything from season 2. Kind of. Let's see what else. Yeah, I guess Public Enemy could be one of them. Let's see. Would there be any from season 4? Uh,
Maybe Blood Depth, because that was
yeah,
the
that
core
or
one.
just Legends of Yesterday if I had to choose any.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else would there be? Maybe What We Leave Behind, I guess.
Oh yeah, that was a solid one.
Yeah, and then I guess maybe. Actually, I don't know if Missing would be on there. Let's see. What I'm just trying to think of really any. But I mean, I went by 10. I went past 10 now, so I guess that's about it. But I guess I'll end it with maybe Fundamentals. I don't know.
You know what's funny? You mentioned What We Leave Behind. That's actually my number 11. It didn't make the cut, but that was damn close. And the
But yeah,
recruits
again,
as
I
well.
that's not my top 10, and it's in no order, but it's just some of my favorites that I can think of off the top of my head. So there we
Yeah,
go.
I like that a lot. So
Yeah,
for
my
you,
rating for the entire show would probably be like a 7 out of 10 around that.
that's quite high, right?
Yeah, that means it's great. Yeah, the only
That's
one I ever given it higher for the CW shows is would be I guess
Stargirl.
Superman and Lois. I gave like around the same, a 7 or 7.5 overall, and then Stargirl I gave like an 8 or 8.5 overall. Mainly the first 2 seasons were great, like 8s or something. Just didn't think they were that special. But season 3, fucking hell, that's like a 9.5. So that really boosted it.
We talk about it, and I want to rewatch the show right now.
Yeah, I mean, besides the last episode, let's just ignore that.
Yeah. Um,
That's just because they were rushed, sadly.
yeah. What about you, DC? What would be your grade out of 10 for season 8?
A 9 out of 10. A 9.
And this is funny because this time around, I am with you. 9 out of 10 for me as well.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
and it's shocking because every past rewatch I did this season for me was sitting from a 7 to a 8 at some point. The highest I ever gave was like 8 to that season, and now I give a proud 9. Um, if my only issue with the entire season is really like the kids from the future and how unbelievable Mia is as a Green Arrow, it's nitpicks. And it surpassed season 1. That's the most shocking thing ever because I always thought season 1 was in the top 3 of the show for me. But now it's more like top 4 because now season 8 took its place.
Damn. Yeah,
I
I
I
have to say though, quickly, apologies if like during some of these like CW shows, I haven't really like said much in detail, and like talking about like the episodes solely. It's just there's with these shows, there's a lot of episodes to cover, so I don't remember everything too well, like in detail. Unlike other seasons or shows we cover that are like 8 per episode. I mean, sorry,
yeah,
per season.
but that's fine, Cole. You do your best, and I think it's the first time you really see all of the episode in Arrow as a TV show.
Yeah, yeah,
I know you have seen some of it in the past, and that's the first time you really
yeah,
watch from start
yeah.
to finish.
Like again, if I were to like write them down while I'm watching them, if I wasn't so lazy and I just did that, or if I like rewatched them and stuff, then or if I like talked about them immediately after seeing it, or did like watch like 5 shows per week, then I would be able to like better
Yeah,
go fully in detail, like episode by episode each season, and also like my opinion would probably like change on some of them, but because of that, I don't remember like too much, like a lot of details in them, just like the whole basis, pretty much. That's all. So
and yeah, you do your best. That's what matters the most. And that discussion we just got was so amazing about season 8. Now that we gave our grade, one final talk about Arrow. Your ranking of all 8 seasons, starting with Cole.
okay, let's see. Would be season 2, season 1, season 8, season maybe yeah, right. Season 5 then would be 4th. Then I guess season 6. Oh, actually, sorry, I completely skipped over 3. My bad. Sorry, let me do that again. It's right. Season 2, season 1, season 8, season 3, season 5, season 6, season 7, and then season 4, which is just yeah. The less said, the better. At least we got Constantine.
Yeah. The only redeemable quality and
Yeah,
blood.
I think it's one of Marvel's favorite seasons, so if not his
Yep.
favorite. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in top 3. His favorite was 6. So DC, what would be your top
All right. So
seasons?
I'm gonna go from best to worst. So
Yeah.
number 1 is season 6. Number 2, season 5. Number 3, season 4. Number 4, season 8. Number 5, season 3. Number 6, season 7. Number 7, season 2. And number 1, and the last one would be season 1.
Very interesting.
It's almost like we did it in reverse. Shit.
And now I will be the guy in between with my top seasons. It has changed with this most recent viewing. Um, so I will go from worst to best. Worst season 4. You guys know how I feel about that. Season 4 was for me a 4.5 out of 10 or so. Maybe a 4, maybe a 3, I can't remember. This was horrendous. It's then followed by season 3 with a 5 out of 10 for me. It's followed then by season 6. And if I remember correctly, I gave like 7 or 7.5 to season 6. It's then followed by season 7. And season 7, I gave either 7.5 or 8. It's then followed in place number 4 by season 1. And season 1 was a 8.5. Followed by season 8 in third place. And season 8 for me was a 9. It's then followed by season 2 with a 9.5 as a second place. And finally, my favorite season was season 5 with a 9.7. That's my ranking. So 5, 2, 8, 1, 7, 6, 3, 4.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised season 5's that high. I mean, it's a good season. I don't know if I would rank it over 1, 2, 8, or even 3 for me. But I know what you feel about 3.
It like season 5. It's for me a perfect character studies on Oliver Queen as a character in this show from the get go. Like recruits reflect very well how he treats people and how he is a bad leader, because it has one of the best line we had with Oliver. The line was told by Curtis. He's like, "You don't build people up, you tear them down." And this is that kind of scene where you're like, wow, they understand very well the Oliver we got in this TV show. The writers, the characters, they are there to really serve that kind of purpose. And we got Capuchon that's basically revealing to Oliver, yeah, you just like enjoying ending people's lives. Um, Prometheus was such a great villain. He didn't need to be stronger physically than Oliver. All he needed to do is outsmart him and have a plan land out and just destroy and tear apart Oliver. I mean, Oliver reverted back to his Bradford days because of Prometheus. Prometheus broke Oliver in a way nobody else did, and that's part of the charm of that season. And yeah, I'm just in love with season 5. It's a really strong season. It has a lot of great moments, and we got like Sin Eater, that's kind of trash episode, and Spectre of the Gun, or I can't remember the name of that episode, but anyway, the Gun Control one. But outside of these 2 episodes, the rest of the season is just rock solid for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for like not in exact order, but for the ones we thought were the best and the worst, I mean, it was pretty similar. Besides one thing, season 3. I still think you're too harsh on that. I agree with the flaws, but I fucking hell the positives outweigh it by a lot to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I see the season. All 8 season. That was our ranking. Um yeah, I like that talk a lot, guys. That was very enjoyable. And here again, that proves us and others we can have different opinion and get along. Like none of us had the same list. We all had different opinion. And
Yeah.
that's fine.
Damn. So I guess we're not being invited back. Damn.
I will be like MS Kid. I will pretend people are replaceable.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hey, are you a fan of Young Rippa?
uh, Young Ripa is a bully. Is an awful person.
Oh shit! I was sorry, I can't invite you back. Then, God damn it!
Do you really like Young Ripa?
No, no, but somebody does.
Okay, okay.
You know
He's a
who?
bully, bro. Like I used to watch this content. To be honest, I used to when I used to watch a lot of these uh toxic people on the
But
internet.
yeah, he's just a hack, and he's just another grifter. What he This is listen. This is Young Rippa. He's basically a critical drinker. He just makes videos about things he knows very little about most of the time, but he just does it for the clicks and grifts. And then if somebody criticizes him, even if they're not being rude, he'll attack them for it, and then he'll send his fucking horde of white knights to go attack him. All right, that's all Young Rippa is. And then he started doing his comic book thing, and again, it has sold a decent chunk. Not gonna lie, but number one, a lot of comic books sell that amount. It's not like the comic book industry is completely dead or anything, but also number two, when you have an audience the size of Young Rippa, all right, literally anything you promote and sell is going to sell that much if you have an audience of that size. All right, go look at any YouTuber with a fairly big audience who sells like comic books, T-shirts, anything. They sell the same amount. All right, and it's actually dropping off quite a lot. And secondly, thirdly, all right, that shit doesn't even matter anyway. All right, all it matters is if they're good or not. And I read them online for free, and they're pretty shit. Shit writing with like spelling mistakes, shit bland ass generic story, bland art style, just soulless characters and powers. All right, and it seems like none of his yeah, and they have garbage ratings online by critics, but none of his fanboys care though, because when they buy his comics, they don't actually care about reading comics. They just want to like try to like join in on this like thing they're trying to push, like let's end wokeness in comics. And even though it doesn't exist, like 80% of comics don't have wokeness in it. It's just some of them. It's just like a handful of them.
And on top of that, based on what I heard, it's very right wing leaning. So by standard, it could be woke at some extent, because if you're left leaning and you're against that kind of stuff, you will have
Yeah.
complaints toward it.
Yeah, it's just really weird. It's like, again, I witnessed these people online because MSK is one of them, and he keeps like making tweets about it and retweeting them. It's like weird behavior. It's like just any random person with 50 followers will like say something, and sometimes they are being stupid too. Are being stupid and towards him. Other times they're just saying their opinion respectfully. But either way, it's just like one random person with like 50 followers. There's like thousands of them on the internet, but then they'll all spend like 5 hours responding to him like 50 times, and then also later on make like a 4 hour stream over it, dissecting like his tweet, or like the 10 minutes he talked about Young Rippa on stream. It's actually like weird cult behavior. And
Yeah.
that's basically what MSK has been doing for like the past 6 months, because the rest of his YouTube career and everything has kind of fallen off. So he's been just like doing that to make, so then he can maybe hope for like that Young Rippa can give him like a drop of cum one day in return of clout. So yeah. And it's like, hey, he can do what he wants. It's just weird behavior to me. I don't understand it. Just like do your own thing. What I don't understand. What's the appeal of doing this? It doesn't even get you views.
Oh, hi, Enviro Nerds. Welcome to the stream. Smallville is actually the next topic. We also have Dark Mirror on the schedule. So, DC, since we will dive deep into Smallville and Dark Mirror, I will also tell you this. For Dark Mirror, next week we will cover season 3, episode 4,
Yep.
and if you can watch it, that's great. If you can't, that's also fine. But just to let you know, so if you got the time, because that show doesn't connect each season and episode, um, well, you can still watch episode 4 and still follow the story and what's going on. So I just wanted to give you some heads up there.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
do you want to stay, even if you won't be able to participate that much because you haven't seen Smallville or Dark Mirror?
Unfortunately, I think I also have to do some stuff as well. But yeah, and also just heads up. August 29th is the day I go back to school. So from August 29 onwards, I should not have nearly as much time. I should still be on the podcast, but yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I thought it was sorry, you said after August 29th?
No,
He comes back that day, I guess. I think.
Wait,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, well, I thought it would be in September, like on the 3rd, but okay.
That's more like university that does.
Well, I mean, in my schools, it's been a while, but that's what they used to do.
Yeah.
But I guess not.
Yeah. I just want to give you guys a bit of a heads up, but yeah.
Thank you very much for letting us know. So watch as much things. Take as much times. Rewind. Take your time to watch whatever you can. As usual, do your best. That's what matters. And good luck with school, man. And here again, thank you very much for coming. You're amazing, and I'm a big fan of what we are doing since you first joined with us. I'm glad. I'm very glad you are part of our team every week. And thank you for your time and dedication, man. Anything you'd like to plug or share before you leave?
No, other than the fact that next week I should be able to start recording videos again, so there's some good news for once.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear about that. What do you plan on recording?
Versus videos. I've been trying to get back into like the who would win in a fight sort of scenario. Some of the matchups, some of the matchups I plan to do are like Captain America versus the Flash. Yeah, those kind of fights. So
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes to those things, I mean, any character can win in any fight in any scenario. It's just what the writer comes up with. But so at the end of the day, as long as you point that out and that it's just for fun, but also secondly, that as long, well, not that you point out, but just secondly, in general, just as long as you do full research on both characters and do them justice, then it doesn't matter who wins. And since it's just for fun, as long as you just research them well, like that's the problem with that garbage death battle thing online. It's like, yes, it's just for fun. Yes, any character can win in any scenario. But number one, they clearly have the biases. They clearly make characters win if they have like sponsorship deals and such in the video. But also number two, mainly, they just don't do a good job of it. They take like 5 minutes doing research and then just make like a poorly animated fight video. So that's the only thing. Like as long as put research into it, then it's good.
So thank you very much, man. Take care. We will talk later and have a good one, DC.
Yeah, bye.
So now we will address MV on Earth. Thank you very much.
We take a week, pretty much like every week we have time to during that whole week we watch these shows, seasons. But also there's a lot of films or shows that we might have already seen. We're just rewatching or revisiting for a short while, so that saves us time.
Yeah, so basically, I can go over my history with Smallville. We already got around that in the first week we covered Smallville, but since you're there, basically my experience with the show, I was maybe like 9 or 10 years old when I first came across the show, and it was like around season 4 or 5, because I watched it in French, so it's like a year after you American, I got the chance to see it. And it's only as a teenager, when I was like 13, 14, I was able to really watch the show and watch as it aired, because I found website and place where I could find it. So I've already seen the show at least 10 times. Yeah, I don't exaggerate. I've seen that show a lot of times, much more than Cole, I think. Cole, have you seen the show from start to finish?
From start to finish before. Yes.
Okay. How many times? Only once or
Yeah,
twice?
once.
Okay. So I've seen the show many times over, and yeah, I thought that was a very enjoyable show. Otherwise, I've never seen the
And
show
I
so
will
many
just
times.
say, next week's with those shows we're doing, again, we're doing that many just so then the schedule's like back on track, and so we can just do all that stuff in order. So just next week we'll, or the week after, it was just the one with like Iron Fist and Luke Cage. We'll have to really try our hardest on and spend a lot of time on. But I'm just saying with that, another reason why I did that multi-topic is basically that because we've already seen Smallville. Well, you at least have seen
Yeah,
it many times, and also Supergirl. I mean, you're not really revisiting yet. There's more, priorities, and then also Arrow
yeah,
just finished. So because of that, Iron Fist and Luke Cage in that week and the other weeks is pretty much like the only shows you really have to watch that week when it comes to the shows with like 13 or more episodes, and
yeah,
then just the other shows like Ahsoka and stuff that just have one episode. So when you think about that, it isn't like too much on the schedule, just so you
yeah,
remember.
yeah. So right now, what's going on in Video Nerds? Cole already said it, but basically every week we cover one Smallville season. So we've been covering the show for like the last month, and we will still cover the show for the next month. Next week, season 6, and vice versa, here and there. Uh, as of my favorite song, man, there's too many of them, and or I just can't pinpoint. Like, there's 217 episodes. There's no way I can remember every single um, episode. What about you, Cole? Do you have any song that stand out?
Any songs from Smallville?
Smallville, yeah.
Um, I mean, none that like stick out in my mind as like my favorite, but I mean that is a good one. The one he listed off. I mean, let me see. So I searched it up. This is what's says were the songs that were in Smallville. Like I don't know how they were used in the show, so they might not have been used well and for the scenes. But if you just want to know, like maybe one of my favorite songs in general that they used in the show, then I guess one of them could be
I
my
actually
immortal, and then I guess uh, what was the one again? Right, where will you go? I suppose. Sorry, where you will go. Yeah, sorry, I said that. My bad.
I to answer that question, I remember the scene. The music, I don't. I'm sorry about that. It's more the scene that has a lot of meaning behind it. I really liked it, but the music,
Yeah,
I can't
I mean,
remember.
especially if it's like licensed music. Like I'm not saying in every scenario like the licensed music is using licensed music is bad. It depends. In a lot of cases, though, yes, especially with fucking Zack Snyder films. But there are times where actually using licensed music, especially for the scenes and how they like utilize it, works. Especially you can do creative stuff like that with it. Like there could be, like you watched the Dirties the other day. They had scenes like where they'll be doing stuff and there's like licensed music playing during it, but then it's like it will then like cut to them like just watching like that work footage of them with the music playing on their laptop and then pausing it when the music stops. So, like stuff like that is creative, and there's also just good uses for it as well in films such as Waves, but in other stuff not so much. But either way, so I'm not saying it's like bad all the time, but I will just say though when it comes to licensed music, yeah, I tend to really forget that which songs are in it a lot of the time. It's more so like the new like creative just like musical scores in films that I remember more.
Are you there, Cole? What happened?
Wait, did you not? Well, no, I just stopped talking. What do you mean?
Okay.
What, did you not hear me at all? I just finished there saying like, yeah, it's more so the
My
creative
focus was
scores.
divided with the chat. That's the thing.
Oh, I see.
I
Yeah,
I have
it's more.
low attention span,
My bad, but yeah, I'm saying it's more so the created original musical scores that I remember in films, not so much the licensed music. But besides the odd examples like maybe Logan and such. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, also it takes you 1 week per season. Yes, we have a lot of topics. Yeah, five
Uh, we
movies.
we
Yeah,
actually covered all 9 seasons of The Flash on the podcast. Uh, we covered that. I think at the start of this, at the end of last season of our podcast. So like,
yeah. After
and
season 9, we decided to then cover all the other seasons of the Flash. Pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah. So we covered the Flash already in length. So there's at least 9 podcasts we did
Yeah,
about the
so if you
Flash.
want to watch that on our older episodes, you can, and
Yeah.
you can let me know if you can hear my annoying neighbors in the background. But
I will
yeah,
let
I
you know.
mean,
Don't worry. But we
yeah,
already
there's
covered in length the Flash. I will cover the Flash in separate video in the future, but our podcast already covered the Flash.
yeah,
Um,
again, 5 movies per week, and then also I mean, there's at least there's 3 like full length shows per week, like seasons, 1 season of them each. But then also sometimes we'll do like 2 other shows that are like happening at this point in time where we do like 1 episode per week, such as My Adventures with Superman or Ahsoka, which we'll do next week.
yeah. Uh, as of that, all depends on the taste of people. I think the Flash TV show was kind of weaker than the other two you mentioned. Um, but Arrow, I'm a huge Arrow fan. I really like grounded character and grounded TV show, and Arrow was for most of it. Um, that's why. So now, I guess we can the Smallville talk season 5. What did you think, Cole?
You know what? I didn't expect to really like it going into it, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't so bad. It was all right. It actually did a lot of things right for me, and I really really enjoyed that first episode, Arrival. But yeah, what I can really say is there was one episode in this that I hated so much. One of my least favorite in the whole show. You want to guess which one that was?
Wait, I need the list. Once I get the list, I can bet which one is it. Season 5. I can only bet freaking Hypnotic.
Hypnotic.
That's not Hypnotic. Okay.
No.
Oh,
That's
Thirst. Sorry, I forgot Thirst was in
yes,
season 5. Oh my,
yes.
Thirst was godly awful. Oh my.
This is like my least favorite in the whole show so far, and
Oh
that's saying
yeah,
something
yeah,
because
yeah. Thirst.
we just did season 4, or season 3, whichever one it was. That was garbage, and holy
Four
fuck,
was
this
garbage.
yeah, this was the fact that you make an episode in season 5 that's somehow like worse than like almost all the others. Holy fuck. Um,
Bruh.
I mean, it's just
Thirst.
incredible, really. But
This is a
goddamn,
masterpiece. What are you talking about? This is like the best episode the entire show
oh
aired.
fuck off. Okay, anyway, uh, but yeah, I mean, I don't. So this is the one that I watched first. This is, I mean, yeah, the show I watched first, basically. So I don't know. I don't remember like too much in detail to say for this topic, but again, I liked how they handled the characters more. At least I liked the scene transitions and the use of powers and stuff. I didn't really like the villains in this, but it's whatever. I mean, besides of course, the main one, but still interesting. Technically, it was 50-50 for me. I think the lighting was shit, and I think some of the editing was messy. But I think in other moments it was pretty good, and in other areas, like I think the sound design they did a good job with and everything. Direction, 50-50 on it's indifferent. Uh, yeah, and then acting, I would say left a lot to be desired. I think there were a lot of episodes such as Reckoning that I thought were great, and especially in premise, but that I feel like the acting kind of dropped the ball with. Well, no, I said everybody besides like Brainiac, pretty much. Yeah, I thought the others were just, yeah,
I agree with you. Like Brainiac was and sound the best villain this season had.
yeah,
And I think Lex build up into a villain because here is ascension to a villain side start really hitting hard. He started doing sketchy and shady stuff. Uh, it was
yeah.
hinted that would start in season 4, but in season 5 he does more and more villainous stuff. Season 6, even more villainous stuff, and season 7 is really like the big moment where he's officially a supervillain.
hmm I mean,
But
what did you think about the last episode of the season?
of season 5, the last episode of season 5, maybe
Hmm.
someone caught up. Oh, I thought that was a very enjoyable episode. Um, it's not my favorite, but it was very enjoyable. Um, so season 5. Is there anything else you'd like to add more to what you already said about season 5?
Um, Nothing too much. Pretty much said everything, but yeah.
Okay, so I thought season 5 I had a blast with it. That was a great season. I always remembered that season as being the one season that really twisted the show for me and that made it better. Season 1, 2, 3, 4 were always kind of rough for me, except for 3. Like my last 2 or 3 watches of 3 were amazing, but season 1, 2, and 4 are much weaker. Um, and season 5, the biggest reason why I like it so much, it's because it's the first time around where they can really take some risk and they can make a season long storyline with Brainiac, with Lex. These aspects are very interesting. With the team itself of season 5 is also very interesting. It's grief, how people deal with grief. It's also taking responsibility. It's the consequence of your act. And if you do something wrong will happen to you. And a lot of shady things that happen to Clark is because these are consequences of his action. And these moments are amazing. Um, and this is that season where the show takes a very dark turn. And every season after that is also a bit dark. I think season 10 brought back some lights. That's what made season 10 so interesting. Because we got like, well, season 7 also does that a bit, but season 7 has weird tone here and there. But um, season 5 is where the show became more mature and more adult. And I think the show really wanted to grow up with the audience because remember, season 1, it's about teenager, like sophomore, first year of high school, and season 4 is like last year of high school. So season 5, of course, they are now adults, and this is amazing. I really enjoyed the fact that the show grew up with the viewer, and season 5, as I said, is the first season with a very interesting season long storyline with Brainiac. I also want to add this. it's interesting how Brainiac's setup was interesting because he's a teacher and he says as every story depends on the narrator and who's telling the story. I think it's very accurate and interesting, and it was foreshadowing that he will lie to Clark at some point about something. And it's just good writing. It's a good setup for a good villain. Did you prefer season 5 of Smallville or season 5 of Arrow? Arrow, no question asked. Even Arrow. I maybe you will dislike my take, but I thought Arrow fifth season was far better than Smallville fifth season. But that's just my taste. That's just me. Uh, Now that I've answered our viewer, what do you think of that question, Cole? Did you prefer season 5 of Smallville or season 5 of Arrow?
I preferred season 5 of Arrow.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think season 5 of Smallville was really good, and we get that new dynamic between Clark and Chloe that I enjoyed so much. Now she knows his secret and she covers for him. And another great thing about season 5, we replaced that freaking Jason awful character for Lois. Now Lois is full time on the show. What did you think of Lois in season 5, Cole?
Uh, Definitely an improvement. I didn't really like the other some of the other supporting characters, so
We also
this
get
was, yeah, Lois was good.
we also get to see Lois and Star in Stripes in season 5. Maybe Hypnotic. I can't remember because there are 2 episodes. Actually 3 episodes I skipped that season. Um, because I remember hating these 3 episodes. That's why I skipped all of these 3. But yeah, season 5 has a lot of really good ideas. I thought Reckoning was a really good episode. What did you think of Reckoning, Cole?
Reckoning. Yeah, again, that was one of my favorite episodes. I think some of the performances in that episode left a lot to be desired. That's my only flaw with it.
I just remembered Exposed.
Yeah,
Fact.
exposed.
I just remember that's oh yeah, they are doing an investigation and Clark is caught going out the club underage. That was funny. Um, yeah. Um, okay. I'm glad now. I think uh, Enviro Art is a uh, Lois, a Lana. I think he is a Lana and Clark ship. So you will probably hate me for what I said, but I'm so glad Clark freaking break up with Lana. Like they are in a toxic relationship, and I hated Lana for most of the time in the show. Her only decent season was season 3. I hated Lana in season 4. I hated Lana in season 2. I hated Lana in season 1. I'm glad they broke up. What did you think of them breaking up at last, Cole?
I was relieved.
And it's funny because go online, you will get shot at.
Really.
Yeah, online people are really all in for the Lana and Clark relationship, and I'm like, why, guys? That's toxic. This is not like how you would model an healthy relationship. Like Clark and Lana by themselves, they are good people doing their best, but together it just doesn't work.
Well, there was just no chemistry with the actors at all.
I agree with that as well. And here's my issue with season 5 that becomes worse with season 6. Lex and Lana. What did you think of this shit?
What, Lex and Lana?
Yeah.
Uh, Like I think Enviro Earth already said it best.
And Chad is damn right. Lana and Lex is even more toxic, and it's hilarious because now I see a pattern with Lana. She got into two toxic relationships. So I think Lana is the issue, guys. She is the
Not
same
really.
issue.
No, I'm sure it isn't. Just like how, I'm sure if you're like a singer and you somehow go through like 50 relationships in 8 years, then definitely you're definitely not at all in any capacity to problem. Taylor Swift.
Okay, I like Lex. I think this Lex Luthor is great, but I gotta say it. I truly hate the fact that he went with Lana. Like, I understand that um, villainous aspect where he wants to get what Clark had, and he wants to wank it at Clark and say, "I got what you don't have. I'm doing better than you. I got what you missed." And it's interesting, that aspect of it, like that part of pride about the relationship. But man, that relationship just doesn't work. What would Lana freaking find appealing to Lex? They tried to justify it and explain it by saying Lex doesn't lie to her. No, he tells half truths. He's still lying to her, but she is so oblivious to it. Like, yeah, she is oblivious to it. Like, Lex is all in about half truths all the time, and Lana just falls into it. That's just how it goes. Um, what do you think of that? Am I hitting the nerve right? Lex and his half truths, and
Yeah, no, you're right.
he's always telling half truths to everyone, and Lana is so stupid to just fall for this shit. It's like
Mhm.
that character is just bad. I hate Lana. I really hate that character. She was the worst part of the show, and when she was written off, gosh, that was a relief.
It
And
was.
it's nothing against the actress. I'm sure she did a great job after that, but that character, man, mistreated. I'm actually surprised the actress wanted to stick around for that long. Maybe the paycheck was good. That's why she stood there, and she was just that object of lust for everyone. Um, but yeah, I really dislike that aspect of it. Another issue with season 5, a lot of the episodes, as much as they are really cool, they feel filler. Um, but that's the thing that's recurring with the Smallville TV show. That's what we do here, Enviro Earth. I'm sorry, but I will be harsh and honest toward every single thing. Uh, I
Mhm.
treat every single TV show and movie the same way, and I'm sorry if my opinion and my criticism goes against what you believe, but that's how we do things here. I'm just being
Yeah.
honest and ruthless towards something. Um, and I'm ruthless and honest towards everything. And I
Yeah.
said it.
Don't show him our Black Panther review.
Smallville is my favorite show, my best show. I can understand the appeal. I won't say it's a bad show, and every criticism I got is more like linked to my taste. I'm not saying it's a bad show. I've never said that. Like, the only show I believe is truly bad is Gotham Knights. And trust me, we did tear the show apart, like in every possible ways, and that was hilarious. And DC was sad because DC liked it a lot, but Cole and I tore Gotham Knight apart like badly. So Smallville is better, but I won't lie on something, and I won't say it's perfect when I don't think it is. Anyway, that's enough of the tangent. The filler episodes. a perfect example for me will be Fragile. I like Fragile, but let's be honest, it was filler. Like, what did it brought to the show outside of Clark being more of a mentor, more of a parent figure? Then brought much more, and even there,
Who knows?
we already knew that aspect of Clark. So yeah, that episode was filler. Um, I could name bunch of them. Like, uh, what else in season 5?
I mean, what about Tomb?
Huh?
Tomb.
Oh, Mortal.
Yeah, episode 14.
Oh, Tomb 14. You see here again, that's another filler. Uh, it wasn't a bad episode by any means, but that was another filler. You didn't need that episode at all. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of episodes like that. You're like, it's not a bad episode, but it's filler and it's sad. And here again, that goes back to what I said in the past. The network was the one saying to the people making the show, we need Freak of the Week. We need like disconnected stuff so people can opt in and follow your show. It was working well for 2001 and upward until like 2010 and 12. And this is why I think Arrow as a TV show is better, because they had that great balance between uh, story that holds up weeks to weeks to stories that you can just follow 1 week. And even there, like, the fillers in Arrow still serve the purpose because they still add aspect of this bigger picture of the season. But with Smallville season 5, I will give a perfect example of Fragile, because I'm pretty sure Brainiac wasn't in Fragile. Where was Brainiac, the season-long villain? Nowhere to be found. And another issue I got, like, in the early stage, Clark lost his powers again. And I know it's on the story with the theme of consequence. I know that, I understand, but I still didn't like this shit. I was like, no. Outside of that, I'm glad we got Aquaman. He was cool, and he will be back. And what else? What else? Lionel as a character is amazing. I thought in season 1, 2, and 3, what worked very well with him, he was clearly the villain, but as the show went on, he became more of a gray character. Like, he will do stuff to help out the villain side, and he will do stuff to help out the good side. And in season 5, that's really the true start of that, because now he's part of the secret. In season 4, he tried to be like more like on the good side and stuff. But season 5, season 6, and 7, Lionel is really like more of a anti-hero. Even there, yeah, anti-hero, yeah. Because he will help out the good guys and he will do shady stuff for the good guys. Like, really like that aspect. What did you think of Lionel in season 5?
I like Lionel.
And
I mean, did you?
yeah, he is amazing. And
Yeah.
I will add more to Lionel. In season 5, they are self-aware. Well, Lionel as a character is self-aware that his method of raising Lex was kind of wrong. And I think that's genius writing, because sometimes people that failed in some aspect of their lives, they are smart people. They will tend to realize they failed. And Lionel is smart, and he realized he failed Lex. And that's wonderful writing. I thought Lionel was carried the season on his shoulders with Brainiac. It's just amazing. I think Smallville is just doing great job with their men characters. Only the women are not that well written. Shots fired at Lana again. I like Lois a lot. Lois is the most consistent and likable character in the show. Chloe is also great when she's not in season two. Season two Chloe was like the worst bitch ever. But as the show went on, Chloe became better and better. Um, I feel like I spin around my wheels, so I will ask you what would be your worst three episode of season five, followed by your top three.
My worst three would be Fade, First, and Tomb. And then my favorite three would be Arrival, uh, Aqua, and I guess surprisingly Lexmas. I like that a lot just because I really enjoyed the tone and performances and everything of that episode. And some of the character stuff I really enjoyed, surprisingly. Even if it has things you said you might not have been a fan of.
I actually like Lake Smith a lot.
Yeah. And then
But
again,
I
Reckoning, surprisingly, like that's like everybody's favorite. And it has like a 9.4 on IMDb, but that's my fourth just because I feel like the performances were lacking there.
yeah, I feel you, man. Reckoning is a interesting episode that I liked, but I think a lot of people that enjoy so much Reckoning is all these Lana and Clark ships that
Yeah.
really like
And the
these two.
ideas instead of like the execution, but
Yeah,
yeah, and I can yeah. So what I think your worst three are, okay, I'll say them now. Um, I think it will be Fragile, Hypnotic, and then Thirst, and then
very interesting.
yeah, Void was another I was thinking of that or Tomb, but I decided no. But those that would probably be like my bottom five prediction though, and then for your top three, I would say Arrival. Let's go with Lexmas, I guess, and then for the third, I'll say. God, I don't think it's Oracle or Vessel. I'll say. Vengeance, I guess I'll go with.
Very interesting. I like your picks. And
Yeah.
before I reveal, I will add a bit more. I thought season five had a lot of really, really strong episodes, and even the filler ones I thought were better than past filler episode seasons. And that's what I will say before I reveal. That's the reveal right now. Um,
Mhm.
there we go. So, rock bottom, thirst. I truly ate this shit. I actually forgot that was a vampire shenanigans. That's like one of the worst episodes ever in the show.
Mhm.
Followed by Myrtle because
Wait,
I thought Myrtle
really?
was the perfect filler shenanigan shit awful that we don't need. It's another story where Clark doesn't have power. Clark can have bedroom fun with Lana.
Oh, right, because he doesn't have powers and stuff, right? I should have
Yeah,
known. But
I
I mean,
was
I think there's worst episodes, so come on.
You don't have power, Clary. I ate you. Next up, Hypnotic. The biggest reason is this season is the breaking point for Lana and Clary. I like that aspect, but the execution is so awful. Like, it's so cheesy, cringe, eye rolling shit. The girl that can just control people because she can. Oh my.
Really. And where would
Lana.
Fragile be?
Lana, you are awful.
Really, where would Fragile be though?
You will see. That's why I said a lot of the filler episode I still think are good episode.
Okay, well,
So, um, Gone was an honorable mention. Is it season 5? Gone. Is it season 5?
um, I'm not sure that it is, but I'll check. It's um,
Maybe
yeah,
it's season 6.
no, I'm not sure it's season 5.
Maybe it's 6.
Yeah, I think 6. It's 6.
Okay. Um, okay. So, Fragile. Top of 8 for me. Followed by Lockdown. I thought it was slightly better than Lockdown. Lockdown felt more like an important episode, but Fragile, I have a bit of a backstory with Fragile. Like, when I was watching as a child and as a young teenager, Smallville, a lot of like the girls were kind of my type, and bit of backstory. I was around the same age as the girl in Fragile, so she was one of my numerous crush over the years because we were the same age. Um, like I always enjoyed that episode because of her. And the same goes for Alicia. I also had a crush on Alicia, but Alicia is obviously older than me. But I had a crush on these two men, Alicia and the girl in Fragile. Um, okay, so next up would be my top 3 was Void, Aqua, and Mercy. Now, the reason why Mercy is higher than Reckoning, it's because it's a character study of Lionel. I like that shit a lot. And I think the only issue I had is like maybe plot convenience or shenanigans like that. That's why the episode was so high. Um, so you see, anything in S is 9.7 or 9.5. So this means I either had one issue or 2 issues with it. And this goes back to what I said. Like Tomb, one of the 2 issues I had that was filler. The other issue is like probably like plot convenience that just Chloe happens to be possessed by that individual at that point in story, but she lived there for years. Lexmas, I can't remember, but yeah, I liked Lexmas more than Tomb because Lexmas wasn't filler. Expose was also quite high for me. Splinter, this season for me was really solid. I stand by that season. I think this season is just amazing. It's one of the best season on TV, and I liked it. Now, Void, the biggest reason why I placed it over Aqua, the first thing is it goes down to Grief as one of the team of that season, and Consequence as well, because the consequence of using that substance is eventually you die or you become addicted, and it's also like a well written addiction storyline. I think I really liked it. What did you think of Void and their approach on addiction?
I liked it. Uh, there were. Here's the thing. I dealt with it before that stuff, and I think there were some inaccuracies personally, but And I also just think the episode, filmmaking wise and such, wasn't the best, which is why I would understand why it's kind of lower down on a lot of other people's lists. And it's sort of like in the lower middle half for me, but I mean, I still enjoyed the episode overall.
Okay, and for Aqua, the biggest reason why I liked it so much, it reflects how Lex is really turning a villain this season, and it shows the rift between both Clark and Lex, because the rift is drawn in season 5, and the more season 5 progress, the less friends they are, and they are basically enemies in season 6, and the same goes for 7. 7, they barely interact with each other, actually. Season 6 was really like the last season they really had lots of scene together. But yeah, season 5, amazing season. I really liked it a lot. Oh, sorry about that. I misclicked. I wanted to click on that. There we go. I am sorry, bro. Still here?
Yeah, why wouldn't I be? So I guess we should give our ratings.
Yeah. What would be your rating out of 10?
7. So it isn't the strongest for me. I liked a couple others more. This is. I did have issues with it personally, but it's still really good.
For me, it's really hard to give it a grade, and I will, because it's fun. I think it deserves a 9 out of 10, the same grade as season 3. And which one between 3 and 5 I think is the best? I'd say 5. By
The dogs agree.
by a small edge. 5 got a small edge over 3 because Brainiac was so cool. I really liked Brainiac, and even the filler episode, I felt good to watch. So yeah, season 5, I had a blast. And I just gave Arrow 8 season a 9 as well. I'd say Smallville season 5 would actually take the win there. It's slightly better than Arrow 8 season. So, Dark Mirror season 3, episode 3. What did you think of that one?
Motherfucker. Oh my god, I'm not to fucking throw a rock at this dog. Fucking hell. This motherfucker. Can you hear it at all? Or
Yeah, but that's fine. Forget about him.
Fucking neighbor's dog is such a bitch. Fuck's sake. Okay, yeah, Black Mirror. So season 3, episode 3, right? So if this is the one I think it is, yes, I really enjoyed this one. This is actually, in my opinion, one of the better episodes that Black Mirror has made. Sort of like the White Christmas episode. I was just really engaged by the whole story and each character in it, and the twists and turns, especially the twist at the end, and just the whole premise and setup. And there were moments where, like, watching it, some people have tried to like nitpick it with certain things being unrealistic, but the more you think about it, and the more you like watch how they did it, it's really not like that unrealistic if you sort of look at it in that, like, how do I say it? It's like sort of like the Robin scene and such. It's like, okay, yes, they want to get away with that realistically with certain, but with what they did afterwards and everything that with what they were doing, the one person had them do, it was realistic in that way. So again, you just have to like pay attention to the episode, but really everything that people have tried to, some people I should say, have tried to nitpick about it, I think is explainable, but that's just me. Yeah, and I also I wrote the performance wise. So this was one episode I really loved the performances in, especially the younger actor. He's been in some stuff recently that has been really good, and that right, he was in Andor for 4 episodes. He was Karis Nemec. If you didn't recognize him,
No,
yeah,
season 3. That's the episode where right now we are talking about the episode with the people that blackmailed, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, and yeah, he's been in some stuff. But yeah, overall though, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really well done with like the filmmaking wise and everything too. I think it was just a really well done episode, one of the better ones, and a really solid creative one, I would say. So I don't think it's like the best, one of the best episodes in this show, but I think it's definitely like up there for like when it comes to like this. Will say there's like a realm of like S tier episodes in this show, and then there's a tier of like A+ episodes that is very limited, and I think this is in the A+ tier. But yeah, um, so you can go now. But yeah, this is the only one you watched this week, right?
Yeah. Um, I will be honest. I don't have a lot to say. Um, so I got a few issues here and there. Opening scene I thought was pointless, and even taking back, it didn't matter. Um, can skip it and still understand what's going on. I thought the pacing was also not that great. Like seeing the day-to-day routine of the teenager wasn't that interesting. Plot convenience later on hitting the roadblock and the police just passing by. Next up would be the plot twist of the gun being empty was predictable. Um, Sometimes predictable things are good, others I don't think it is. Here, I don't think it was good for it to be predictable. Um, so yeah, these are my issues with that episode. But I will say this: I thought this episode was very accurate on how webcam can be used. It was also easy to control people, and it's accurate because people are scared to have their like dirty secrets released.
Mhm.
The sad reality of
Yeah,
fathers losing their kids in divorce is very accurate to society. The kids' panic attack was cool. The music, enjoyed it. The villain doing the blackmail in the end was also accurate because even if you listen to someone that blackmails you, nothing guarantees you that this person won't do it anyway. And they did. And
yeah. And
yeah,
it was really well done in my opinion. But
yeah,
also, again, I to me, I didn't think the gun thing was predictable, but that was just me. I didn't really see it coming. But also the stuff with like the beginning scenes, I think it was needed to really like set up the story with the character because it makes you think like it really makes you think like how innocent the kid is like by going through all that stuff early on with him. So I think it was like needed for the story to kind of follow with him and kind of like hope he gets out of it okay.
yeah. But yeah, I think yeah, I I said everything I wanted to say. I liked what they tried to do and the message they brought. That was all good,
So this
and
wasn't one of your favorite episodes.
not really.
Wow.
uh,
Ah,
I,
damn, I really enjoyed this one.
I still liked it. It was entertaining, but I think there are better episodes that like I feel like this season they all wanted to be bigger and longer and more like more of everything because we like more of everything. I think season 1 and 2 were better. So far, 3 is somewhat of a disappointment. Even if the
Damn.
messages are cool and I like them, it's not as good as season 1 or 2.
I mean, to a lot of people, season three is like one of the best, or if not the best, to them. So that's a little bit surprising to them.
Yeah, I still enjoy the message. As I said, the message behind Black Mirror, even if the Black Mirror is episode is not that great for me, I will still like the message. except if they mess up the message and the delivery, then I won't like it anymore. But so far, I don't have any issues with any of the message they brought. I really like the nuance parts of what they tell their audience.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, just for me, I really love like the setups and premises of season 2 and season 3, and I think just the execution in them personally are the best outside of the odd one. But that's just me. But I mean,
Yeah.
I do think like in season 3, yeah, again they went for like longer and they tried to do more of like mini films with the higher production and substance. They went to Netflix, and for me, I thought it worked, but I guess that's just me. But at least for a certain while, then it kind of dropped off, as you'll see in season 5 and season 6. But for now, we're not on it, and for now, we're not on it right now. And
Yeah.
season 4, even there's some episodes that are kind of weak, like they attempted that stuff, and you can tell that it comes off as a little bit desperate at points, or like attempts it, or it's more like Netflix just showing off how much money they have instead of just production for no reason. But the majority of the episodes in it are still solid, though, even if there's some weak ones. Like at worst, the weakest 1 and 4 is solid, which is probably Metalhead for me. So I still like them, even if it's weaker and does that stuff. But yeah, season 5 and season 6, it's gonna be fun to roast. That's all I'll say. There's maybe like 1 or 2 episodes I really like in like season 6.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, especially season 5. There's 3 episodes, and good God, and there's this one with a robot that's just fucking garbage, and it has like Miley Cyrus in it. And good lord.
What?
Yeah, just wait.
Oh, that looks like a train wreck. So I think I would give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. What about you?
For me, this is like around like a 9, but at worst like an 8.5. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. And just to also say, so when you have free time, just again on our schedule thing we have coming up for the next weeks, I'm starting to fill the other movie empty slots with things. And one of them I did fill it up with Bandersnatch, so we will watch that film soon, the Black Mirror film they made in like 2018. But again, you need to watch it on Netflix, so just in your free time, if you can check if there's like a free trial anywhere that you can just sign up for instead of paying.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't, then worst comes to worst, I don't know how much this subscription is, again, like $8 a month. We could just pay the $8 and you can think of it as like a movie ticket or something for just 1 month.
Yeah. What we could do is November or October, because October we haven't. Well, we have the first week we have a few movies, but we could think about October having Netflix stuff, and I could for October get a
Yeah,
1
I mean,
month.
we'll see, but just
But
check if there's like a free
Netflix, can
trial
we just
anywhere.
for Netflix? Can we just pay like for 1 month and then it doesn't renew or anything except if I wanted to?
You can, but I don't know. There's different ways around it, but there might be like a free trial for Netflix that you can get somewhere, and that would be best if you just use the free trial up and then you just watch that film, and then any others in your free time if you want to while you're there, and then just ends without paying.
Yeah, but I'm fine with paying if it's only 1 month. But I like there's a lot of subscription they renew themselves out, and I hate these. They're like the most obnoxious and annoying one to get rid of. But we'll see. Man, another great podcast. I'm having a blast with you and
Yeah,
DC.
okay, I checked. There's no free trials. God damn it.
We will see. We will see. It's also possible I may find it somewhere, man. It's very possible I may find it.
No, you can, but here's the thing. The film is different. The film is sort of like also a video game. a choose your own adventure thing, and you play through it and do
Ah,
different options,
I
and you
see.
can rewatch it basically, or certain chapters to then see the different endings and stuff basically. And
Yeah.
if you try to watch it on another, obviously anything other than Netflix, what it was made for, then you're not going to get any of that. It will basically just show you the film without any of those options, and like where you get the longest like route, which is like an hour and a half until it ends, basically, or like the
Okay.
official type ended for it on the site, and that's all it'll show you. It won't obviously you can't go look through like all the other options and stuff. So that's why. So that's why I said it needs a Netflix. So
Okay.
sadly, I guess we're gonna have to buy it for like 1 month or something. I don't know how
Yeah.
much
So
the
plan
monthly
stuff
is.
that we can find on Netflix for October.
Yeah. Okay.
Um. So yeah, as usual, man, you're amazing. Thank you very much for your time, your dedication. I always like your planning. Your planning is always on point. I'm excited for September and next week. Next week we got a lot going on again.
Yeah.
Um, so thank you, Cole. Anything you'd like to plug?
I don't know. Just I do have a Letterbox account, which again, that's all really the plug pretty much that I care about. Just you can just look either this name up on Letterbox, or there's in the future I could be changing it to this, because I might be getting my two middle names changed to one of these two things, which is either Sean Avery as my two middle names, or just Joseph Jason as my two middle names, with one of them already being like a real middle name in real life, just for legal reasons, but also because so then I can make that as like my full kind of real life like like username for every
Yeah.
website, because none of them are taken on there. So basically, so there's a chance I might change my Letterbox username to one of those two things, but for the most part, you can just find me on there, or just with just my regular full name there, which I'll just quickly put in the StreamYard here, right there, as you'll see that. So you can just search me up there on Letterbox if you care. But yeah,
So thank you again. We will talk later, man, and take care and have a great one.
yep, you too.